Chapter 282. Yes, my lord. Gao Shun tried his best to calm himself down, then bowed deeply. After that, he took the 10 purple coins that Yi Chan gave him and walked towards the teleportation portal. Gao Shun, first-rate historical general characteristics, breaking the enemy line's grade, SSS sealed, loyalty, loyal martial strength, 95 bone structure, 93 spirit, 100 fortune, hidden cultivation technique, Vajra esoteric art, incomplete, saint, technique, 5 tiger soul breaking saber, saint equipment, none. As Yi-chan watched Gao Shun leave, the corners of his mouth curled up. There were benefits to having a good reputation. Look, Gao Shun automatically came to join him. The formation breaker's surname was Yi. Yi-chan had just finished thinking when the world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi-chan for being the second person to obtain the loyalty of the first-rate historical general, Gao Shun. Due to his special status, player Yi-chan is rewarded with 10 million reputation and 10 million gold. Damn it, he really took Gao Shun in. Damn it, my Gao Shun was right beside me. In the end, he was snatched away by Yi-chan. That bastard. Damn it, where are you? Yi-chan went to your place? Luoyang. Yi-chan came to Luoyang again. He hasn't even entered the city, and he already took Gao Shun in. Damn it. Boss Yi-chan is awesome. He just killed Wang Yu, and then he took Gao Shun in. I seem to have discovered a big secret. Yi-chan doesn't like those chivalrous heroes. Nonsense. The mainstream in this world is a confrontation between two armies. What's the use of finding a chivalrous hero? No matter how awesome he is, can he be as awesome as an invincible army? I dare to bet that if Gao Shun doesn't follow Yi-chan, Boss Yi-chan will definitely kill him. Damn it, there's no shadow. He already followed him, so what if? Nonsense. Speaking of which, Yi-chan went to Luoyang not only to receive the reward for quelling the rebellion, but also to find Tang Zhou for the Golden Turban Rebellion. F***CK. It's really possible, but Tang Zhou isn't that easy to find. Many people have started to move, but they still haven't found him. Have you forgotten? Yi-chan knows the secret of the game. Just because no one can find it doesn't mean that Yi-chan can't find it. Don't talk nonsense. What's the use of finding Tang Zhou? Hand him over to the Emperor? Do you think Yi-chan would be interested in that little bit of merit? The World Channel was in an uproar. When Yi-chan saw the discussion about Tang Zhou, his eyes narrowed. Just like in his previous life, someone wanted to start the Golden Turban Rebellion ahead of time. In history, Tang Zhou was Zhang Jiao's disciple. After coming to Luoyang, he informed the Great Han Empire, causing the Golden Turban Rebellion to erupt prematurely. As long as they could capture Tang Zhou and obtain Tang Zhou's secret letter, they could exchange it for meritorious service and obtain an official position. Their official positions were very low, and they didn't even enter the ranks. However, there was no doubt that this was a shortcut for the players. With an official position, their status would change, and it would be easier to recruit historical figures. Yi-chan naturally knew the benefits of finding Tang Zhou, but as the player had said, he didn't care about the benefits. Furthermore, Yi-chan had just arrived in Luoyang, and he hadn't received his reward yet. If the Golden Turban Rebellion erupted, wouldn't it be like drawing water with a bamboo basket? Not only would he not obtain anything, but he would also have to quell the rebellion. This wasn't something Yi-chan wanted to see. As far as Yi-chan was concerned, he only intended to participate in the Golden Turban Rebellion with the identity of a faction, not become the subordinate of a general of the current dynasty. Although General Pacifying North's official position wasn't low, when the Golden Turban Rebellion erupted, he would definitely be restrained by someone, such as Lu Ji. Yi-chan planned on plundering the Golden Turban Rebellion and the demons that were about to appear. If he was restrained, how could he do that? Furthermore, Yi-chan wanted to plunder more talents before the Golden Turban Rebellion. Therefore, Yi-chan definitely wouldn't have any ideas about Tang Zhou. He didn't know if it would happen earlier, or if no one would find Tang Zhou like in his previous life. Yi-chan had just finished thinking when he heard Zai Shunzi's flattering voice. General Yi, let's hurry. The morning court is about to start. Don't keep His Majesty waiting. Yichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. He nodded and followed Zaya Shunzi to the imperial palace. While Yichen was on his way to the imperial palace, eunuch Sandazi returned to the imperial palace through the teleportation portal. He hurriedly found Zhang Li and told him about He Xian in detail. Imperial palace in a certain hall. After hearing Sandazi's account, Zhang Li's face instantly turned gloomy. He then shouted, He Xian is so daring. He even dared to beat up people from the Zagia. Attendant, you have to uphold justice for this servant. That He Xian simply has no regard for the law. Normally, he hits us quite a bit. This time, if it wasn't for General Yi, this servant would have been beaten to death by him. At this time, Third Dazi bowed and said with a sorrowful face, Don't worry. This time, not only will He Xian not be able to escape, even Yi Jin will lose a layer of skin. Zhang Li finished speaking viciously. He suddenly stood up and then shouted, Go. Send more people. We must not let He Xian escape. Yes, Minister. Sandazi hurriedly bowed and said when he heard this. Imperial Palace, outside the palace. After Zaya Shunzi brought Yi Chun here, he hurriedly bowed and said, General Yi, you must be tired. Please wait here for a moment. When His Majesty summons, I will bring you into the palace. The little eunuch Zaya Shunzi clearly treated Yi Chun as one of his own. Not only did his words flatter, even his attitude was unbelievably respectful. Yi Chun glanced at Zaya Shunzi, then nodded and said with a smile, Okay, thank you for your trouble. General Yi, you're overcompensating me. It's my fortune to be able to work for General Yi. Zaya Shunzi hurriedly bowed and said when he heard this. When Yi Chun heard this, he couldn't help but smile. Just as he was about to open his mouth, all the civil and military officials walked over. The one leading them was actually He Jin. The instant he saw He Jin, Zaya Shunzi couldn't help but shiver. He hurriedly looked at Yi Chun, bowed, and said, General Yi, I'll return to the palace to report first. Yi Chun nodded and then said, Okay. Zaya Shunzi hurriedly bowed and then hurriedly entered the palace. At this moment, He Jin took a few steps forward and was the first to arrive in front of Yi Chun. He glanced at Yi Chun and then snorted coldly. Colluding with eunuchs, how despicable. When Yi Chun heard this, his eyes immediately narrowed and he shouted without hesitation, playing to the gallery, shameless villain. Just now, when Yi Chun was talking to Zaya Shunzi, his expression was gentle and there wasn't the slightest bit of disgust. How could Yi Chun not know what He Jin's motive was when he suddenly said that? He Jin wanted to place Yi Chun in the position of wallowing in a mire with eunuchs. If he didn't counterattack or panic, Yi Chun wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. Therefore, Yi Chun counterattacked without hesitation. Moreover, he didn't leave any face for He Jin. Chapter 283. Yi Chun, how dare you? He Jin was enraged when he heard this. He pointed at Yi Chun and roared, The Yuzhou rebels know whether I'm brave or not. The Wuhuan tribe knows as well. Yi Chun sneered and shouted. As soon as Yi Chun finished speaking, all the civil and military officials who were walking over were stunned. He Jin's expression changed, and he shouted angrily, Don't change the subject. Don't try to change the topic. Yi Chun, let me ask you, why did you humiliate me? Don't you have any respect for your seniors? Respect? How dare a shameless villain talk about respect? Yi Chun curled his lips in disdain and shouted, Great General, please conduct yourself with dignity. Lu Ji came to Yi Chun's side and glanced coldly at He Jin. Lu Ji, He Jin shouted angrily when he saw that Lu Ji dared to come over and talk to him. Great General, don't get angry. There must be some misunderstanding. Another military official tried to persuade him, but his tone was much gentler. Bullshit misunderstanding. Didn't you see that this thief was talking and laughing with the eunuch? Who dares to say that he didn't collude with the eunuch? He Jin shouted angrily. Yi Chun narrowed his eyes and shouted, Old man He Jin, if you think that you don't approve of His Majesty's punishment, just say it. Don't try to be glib. Such despicable behavior is despicable. Ignorant brat. I'll kill you. When He Jin heard this, Fury instantly surged in his heart, and he opened his mouth and roared. "Old man He-Jin, do you think that I'm afraid of you?" Yi-Chen glared and shouted angrily. Following Yi-Chen's shout, an extremely tyrannical, murderous aura instantly soared up and charged at He-Jin. A tyrannical, domineering, and unparalleled aura erupted at this moment. He-Jin was just about to curse back at Yi-Chen when he was instantly frightened by Yi-Chen's extremely tyrannical, murderous aura. Then, with a plop, he sat down on the ground. Without exception, all of the civil and military officials stared at Yi-Chen with wide eyes, as if they were looking at a monster. Yi-Chen's aura was too terrifying. Tyrannical, domineering, invincible. These were the thoughts of all the civil and military officials in the imperial court. The Chinese ministers felt this the most because they did not have any martial power. In fact, if Yi-Chen hadn't locked his murderous aura onto He-Jin and not released it elsewhere, none of the civil and military officials would still be standing where they were. Yi-Chen was not stupid. How could he casually release his killing intent? That would offend all the cultural relics ministers here. If he offended everyone, wouldn't it be troublesome for him to meet Lu Hong this time? Good. As expected of the Great Han Empire's general pacifying north, who took 2 hours to flatten Ping City and 1 day to destroy Wuhan, Lu Ji came to his senses, applauded, and laughed heartily. General pacifying North's courage and martial prowess are unparalleled in the world. No wonder he was able to achieve such a feat. This is the joy of Great Han, the joy of His Majesty. A general let out a long sigh and stroked his beard with a smile. A civil official glanced at He-Jin on the ground and said with a smile, "That's only natural. General pacifying North's bravery surpasses that of the 3 armies. Even the champion Marquis is no match for General pacifying North." One after another, the ministers of the imperial court spoke one after another about Yi-Chen's bravery and contributions. They praised Yi-Chen to the point that he was rarely seen in the heavens and unparalleled on earth. This was because they truly admired Yi-Chen. No one knew better than them how difficult it was to quell the rebellion in Yuzhou and wipe out Wuhan. When Lu Hong had given Yi-Chen 3 months to quell the rebellion in Yuzhou, no one had believed that Yi-Chen could do it. But Yi-Chen had done it, and he had killed Zhang Chun in just 2 hours. Even more frightening was that he had uprooted Wuhan in just 1 day. None of them would have been able to do what Yi-Chen had done. And now, Yi-Chen's tyrannical aura had won over a large group of people. This sort of aura could only be possessed by someone with superb martial prowess. At that moment, many people thought that Yi-Chen is not only a godly commander, but also a peerless martial prowess. Originally, many people did not approve of He-Jin's actions. Fuck, Yi-Chen had made great contributions, so how could a eunuch rope in someone like him? This sort of person could rely on himself to rise through the ranks. No one could stop him, so there was no need for him to rely on someone like Zhang Li. He-Jin, on the other hand, had been slandering Yi-Chen as soon as they met. Yi-Chen was furious and released his aura, causing He-Jin to fall to the ground in fright. How is this a fucking great general? The generals despised him, and the civil officials disdained him. Thus, many people no longer avoided He-Jin and directly praised Yi-Chen. In fact, if there had been a top-class historical general present, they would have immediately discovered the truth. Yi-Chen's killing intent had only been directed at He-Jin. Otherwise, He-Jin would not have fallen to the ground in fright. That terrifying killing intent was brutal and merciless. Even some third-class or even second-class historical generals would have to kneel if they encountered it. As for He-Jin, he was just a butcher. He had relied on his sister, Empress He, to become a great general. Although he had a certain level of martial prowess, how could he compare to those third-class or second-class historical generals? Of course, there were people who praised Yi-Chen, but there were also people who kept their mouths shut. These people either looked down on generals or were He-Jin's lackeys. However, at this moment, none of these people spoke up to mock Yi-Chen. This was because they were not stupid and did not want to be scolded. Everyone in Great Han knew about Yi-Chen's military exploits. It was bad enough that a great general did not praise him, but he even found fault with him. If word of this got out, how shameless would he be? Yichen listened to the civil officials and generals' praises and cupped his fists. Then, he retracted his killing intent and aura. Glancing at Yichen, Yichen curled his lips in disdain. Idiot, you're looking for trouble with me. I'll scare you to death, you idiot. Just as Yichen finished thinking, Yichen suddenly screamed in horror. Ah, save me. Save me. Yichen wants to kill me. Yichen screamed as he crawled towards the civil and military officials. His face was as pale as a ghost, and his eyes were completely unfocused. In the next second, Yichen's eyes rolled back, and he fainted. Yichen's lackeys all looked at each other with ugly expressions on their faces. Damn, they had lost a lot of face this time. Yichen's lackeys hurriedly went forward and helped Yichen up. Some of them patted his back, and some of them pinched his philtrum. After a while, Yichen took a deep breath and opened his eyes. Great General, if you're not feeling well, why don't you return to your residence to rest? Wang Yun sighed and cupped his fists. Chapter 284. When Yichen heard this, his lifeless eyes gradually regained some life. Then he suddenly shuddered. In the next second, Yichen's face turned red all of a sudden, because he saw the strange looks in the eyes of the court officials. This was a look he never wanted to remember. Many years ago, at that time, he was still a butcher. He always had to act according to other people's wishes. He lived a lowly life. Sometimes, when he didn't do a good job, he would be beaten and insulted. If he offended the bailiffs, he would be punished even more miserably. Every time this happened, there would be people who would give him this strange look. Pity? No, it was mockery. It was schadenfreude. He hated all those who bullied him and humiliated him. He hated even those who were bystanders. Finally, his luck came. His younger sister, Empress He, caught the eye of Lu Hong. His elder brother became the great general of the Great Han Empire because of his younger sister. He took care of all those who bullied him and humiliated him, as well as those bystanders. From then on, he was indescribably noble and unstoppable. He was second only to one person and above everyone else. And today, he saw in the eyes of the court officials a look that he had forgotten for countless years. Wave after wave of intense stimulation stimulated Yichen. His anger surged up wave after wave. Yichen, an extremely crazy roar came out of Yichen's mouth. He wanted to kill. He wanted to kill Yichen. He had to kill Yichen. Yichen was the one who made him review his past humility and lowliness. However, when he looked at Yichen again, Yichen's gaze was as cold as the edge of a knife. It instantly threw him into a bottomless abyss. Yichen felt a bone-chilling cold. Whether it was his body or his soul, he felt cold. It was as cold as death. Yichen's cold gaze shook his soul. It was a gaze that he didn't dare to meet. Great General, why don't you return to your residence to rest first? Lu Ji shook his head helplessly and cupped his fist as he looked at Yichen, who had just flown into a rage and immediately stopped talking. Yichen didn't even dare to look at Yichen. When Yichen heard Lu Ji's words, the fear that had just arisen was once again suppressed by hatred. He was the great general of the Great Han Empire, second only to one person and above tens of thousands. How could he be frightened? How could he retreat just like that? How could he not take revenge? Thinking of this, Yichen gave Lu Ji a venomous look and then said in a hoarse voice, "No." After Yichen finished speaking, he lifted his leg and walked towards the palace gates. From beginning to end, he did not look at Yichen again. This was because he didn't dare. He was afraid to see Yichen's cold eyes again. He was afraid that he would be frightened by Yichen again and make a fool of himself. At this moment, Lu Ji couldn't help but frown before regaining his composure. When the civil and military officials saw this, they all looked at each other, then followed him into the palace. Yichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows as he watched the relics of the imperial court leave. This old man, Yichen, really didn't give up on his evil intentions. If he knew what Xian had done and whose hands he was in, who knew how he would feel, thinking of this, Yichen couldn't help but smile. He then quietly stood at the palace gates and closed his eyes to rest. Imperial Palace, Royal Court. Not long after the civil and military officials had taken their positions, Lu Hong entered the Great Hall in high spirits. After sitting down on his chair, he directly shouted, "Go, call our general pacifying north over for us." After Lu Hong finished speaking, He Jin's face, which was still considered normal, suddenly turned deathly pale. Lu Hong's meaning was very clear. This morning court assembly could basically be said to have been held for Yi Chun. Otherwise, Lu Hong wouldn't have asked this and that, and directly called Yi Chun into the hall. "Yes, Your Majesty." Zhongli glanced at He Jin, then bowed to Lu Hong. After speaking, he stood up and looked at the entrance of the Great Hall, shouting, "Summon the Great Han Empire's General pacifying North Yi Chun. Enter the hall." The little eunuch Xia Shunzi on duty at the entrance immediately bowed, then hurriedly ran out of the palace. Imperial Palace, City Gate. Creak. A sound was heard. The little eunuch Xia Shunzi hurriedly came to Yi Chen's side and bowed with a fawning expression. "General Yi, His Majesty has summoned you. This servant will bring General into the palace." Yi Chun chuckled and nodded, then followed Xia Shunzi into the palace. Imperial Palace, Great Hall. As soon as Yi Chun arrived, he directly looked at Lu Hong, then bowed and said, "This humble subject pays respects to Your Majesty. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor!" When Lu Hong saw Yi Chen's youthful appearance again, he was slightly taken aback, then laughed loudly. "Good! What a great general pacifying North! At such a young age, you command troops like a god. In 2 hours, you broke through the northern Right Ping City, and in 1 day, you flattened Wuhan. We really didn't misjudge you. You are the pillar of our great Han Empire." Lu Hong was so happy and kept praising Yi Chun. In addition to Yi Chen's astonishing military achievements, more importantly, the money that Yi Chun had given Lu Hong could be said to be a sea of money. As far as Lu Hong was concerned, none of his courtiers could understand his heart as a monarch. Every day, they would pester him for money. There was a famine here, so disaster relief was needed. There was an unstable river there, so the river needed to be repaired. There was an earthquake somewhere, so there was a road needed to be repaired. It was a mess. The Great Han Empire was clearly in a state of prosperity and stability, but had made up a bunch of nonsensical reasons to annoy him. Look at Yi Chun. He was also a subject of the Great Han, but not only did he not ask for money, he didn't even ask for provisions. He had directly dispatched troops to quell the rebellion, and in such a short time, he had even uprooted Wuhan, and in the end, he had even sent him so much money. This was what a good subject should be like. Many thanks for Your Majesty's praise. This humble subject was able to successfully quell the rebellion, all thanks to Your Majesty's great talent, wisdom, and martial prowess. Otherwise, this humble subject would have returned in defeat. When Yi Chun heard this, he hurriedly bowed and paid his respects. Yi Chun's words were sincere and his expression grave. When Lu Hong heard Yi Chun's words and saw Yi Chun's expression, he couldn't help but be taken aback. No minister had ever said these words to him before, but now there was one, and it was even General Yi Chun who had won great military merits. Moreover, he was speaking from the bottom of his heart and without any falsehood. At this moment, Lu Hong's heart felt very comfortable and carefree. "Ha ha, Yi Chun, hurry up and speak. What reward do you want? We will agree to it." Yi Chun hastily bowed and said, "Your Majesty, this humble subject was tasked with quelling the rebellion. How could this humble subject dare to claim credit for himself?" Yi Chun was no fool. If he really said that he wanted a reward, not only would Lu Hong feel uncomfortable, but all the other civil and military officials in the court would probably jump out and criticize Yi Chun. Lu Hong's eyes lit up, and then he laughed and said, "Good. What a fine subject." Lu Hong turned to Zhongli and said, "Give me a decree." Pass on the decree. General Yi Chun, General Pacifying North, has achieved great military merits and is one of the pillars of the nation. General Pacifying North will be conferred the title of General of Swift Cavalry and the title of Marquis Champion. Chapter 285. Yi Chen's eyes lit up when he heard Lu Hong's words. Yi Chen had thought that Lu Hong would give him a position of secondary grade 2. He did not expect to be given the position of General of Agile Cavalry, grade 2. General of Agile Cavalry was grade 2, second only to the Great General. With this position, Yi Chen did not have to worry about being controlled by others in the plot of the Golden Turban Rebellion. He could lead his troops to quell the rebellion. With the title of Marquis Champion, Yi Chen's reputation would soar. By then, it would be much easier for Yi Chen to subdue the historical generals and civil officials. Yi Chen had just finished thinking when a loud shout came. "Your Majesty, you can't." Yi Jin stepped forward with a righteous look on his face and bowed to Lu Hong as he spoke. "Why not?" Lu Hong furrowed his brows and shouted. Lu Hong did not feel bad about giving Yi Chen this position, because Yi Chen had given him so much money that it was far beyond Lu Hong's expectations of General of Agile Cavalry. Moreover, Lu Hong liked to hear Yi Chen's words and was very happy. However, as soon as he finished talking about the reward, Yi Jin jumped out to oppose it. How could Lu Hong feel good about it? "Your Majesty, Yi Chen has gathered troops and is plotting a rebellion. Your Majesty, please issue an edict to remove Yi Chen from his position and throw him into the celestial prison." Yi Jin bowed and shouted. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Yi Jin knew that Samsara City had gained 600,000 new soldiers at this moment. The number of soldiers in Samsara City had greatly exceeded the limit of 300,000 soldiers that General Ping Bei could lead. Yi Jin said that Yi Chen had gathered troops and was using this as a pretext to slander Yi Chen. Of course, Yi Chen was not worried about this because he could turn the extra soldiers into villagers at any time. When he needed it, he could just summon it back and use it. Moreover, it wouldn't take too long. However, this would disrupt Yi Chen's previous plans. He had to return to Samsara City as soon as possible to solve this matter. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes flashed with a cold light. "Yi Jin, you better pray that you die in Zhang Li's hands just like in history. Otherwise, I will teach you why the flowers are so red." Zhang Li, who was standing beside Lu Hong, didn't wait for Lu Hong to speak. He suddenly knelt on the ground and began to cry loudly. When Lu Hong saw this, he couldn't help but be stunned. Just as he was about to ask Yi Chen, he immediately dispelled the idea. "Father Rang, why are you suddenly crying?" Lu Hong was so agitated that he shouted out, "Father!" Hearing this, all the civil and military officials frowned, but no one dared to speak, because this was something they all knew. If they admonished Lu Hong because of this, they would be asking for trouble. "Your Majesty, you have to uphold justice for me." Zhang Li cried out in grievance as tears streamed down his face. "Father Rang, who is so bold to humiliate you?" When Lu Hong saw this, he was stunned and then shouted angrily, "Your Majesty, General Yi Jin wants to kill me." When Zhang Li heard this, he cried even louder. When Yi Jin heard this, his face suddenly changed. He then looked at Zhang Li furiously. Just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by Lu Hong. "How dare you, Yi Jin? Are you trying to rebel?" Lu Hong stared at Yi Jin angrily. No matter how one looked at it, he looked like he was going to kill Yi Jin. "Your Majesty, I am loyal and devoted. Why would I rebel? Zhang Li is slandering me. Your Majesty, please don't listen to the nonsense of such a treacherous person." Seeing Lu Hong's expression, Yi Jin's face turned red all of a sudden. He then bowed and said. At this moment, Yi Jin was furious. He never thought that Zhang Li would say this. More importantly, Lu Hong actually believed him. "Your Majesty, there must be a reason for this. Your Majesty, please investigate." Wang Yin stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, please investigate." Yuan Kuang also stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, please investigate." All the civil and military officials then bowed in unison. When Lu Hong saw this, his face suddenly darkened. Then he looked at Zhang Li and shouted, "Father Rang, tell me the whole story. As long as it is true, I will skin Yi Jin alive today." When Zhang Li heard this, he immediately choked and replied, "Yes, Your Majesty." After Zhongli finished speaking, he immediately looked at Yi Jin and took 3 steps back with a face of fear. Then, he pointed at Yi Jin and shouted sadly, "Bastard Yi Jin, you hid it so well. If it weren't for General Ping Bei, how long would you have hidden it?" When Yi Chen heard this, he was slightly stunned, and then his eyes suddenly widened. Damn it! Zhongli was going to use his ultimate move. Not bad, not bad. It would be better to kill this idiot, Yi Jin. Damn it. He actually sent people to secretly investigate Samsara City. This son of a bitch. Zhongli, you bastard. What did I hide? When Yi Jin heard this, he suddenly became furious and roared loudly. Yi Jin, how dare you be so presumptuous in front of me? Are you trying to rebel? Lu Hong suddenly stood up and pointed at Yi Jin angrily and shouted, Your Majesty, Yi Jin is really going to rebel. Zhongli looked at Lu Hong with tears streaming down her face as she shouted in horror. When a civil official heard this, he was furious and pointed at Zhongli and shouted, How dare you, eunuch? How dare you slander the general in public? Do you want to learn from Zhao Gao and cause chaos in the court? Guards, drag this bastard out and flog him 100 times. Lu Hong's anger was instantly ignited by this civil official, and he shouted without hesitation, Your Majesty, you can't. Yuan Kuang was shocked and hurriedly bowed. Your Majesty, you can't. Wang Yan also bowed at this time. Drag him out. Lu Hong glared at Yuan Kuang and Wang Yan fiercely and shouted. Soon, 2 imperial guards rushed into the main hall, grabbed the civil official, and dragged him out of the hall. Fatuous ruler! Fatuous ruler! The civil official who was dragged out roared angrily. If he was flogged 100 times, his buttocks would definitely be smashed to pieces, and he might even be beaten to death. How could the civil official not be angry? Kill him. Put him to death by 1,000 cuts. Exterminate his entire family. Lu Hong kicked the table in front of him and shouted with fire in his eyes. All the civil and military officials in the court instantly shut their mouths. A few wanted to step out and persuade him, but they were immediately stopped by the people beside them. F***CK, the emperor is really angry. Still stubbornly resisting is courting death. The only one who acted pretentious is about to be executed by 1,000 cuts and his entire family exterminated. Even if they were loyal officials, they couldn't throw their lives away. This was the mentality of most of the officials. Lu Hong glanced at all the civil officials in the court and coldly snorted. He then looked at Zhongli and said, Father Rang, tell me, did Yi Jin really rebel? Zhongli choked with sobs as he heavily nodded and said, Yes, Your Majesty. Yi Jin sent He Xian to the teleportation formation to intercept General Ping Bei, who came to Luoyang by imperial decree. He wanted to kill General Ping Bei because he felt that General Ping Bei was a threat. With General Ping Bei around, Your Majesty would be too safe and he wouldn't be able to rebel successfully. However, He Xian encountered Third Disease, who was sent by Your Majesty to welcome General Ping Bei. He Xian was afraid that the matter would be exposed, so he directly took action and killed everyone except Third Disease and Xia Shunzi. Fortunately, General Ping Bei arrived in time and saved Third Disease and Xia Shunzi, allowing them to live. Your Majesty. Chapter 286. Zhongli, you bastard. You're talking nonsense. Yi Jin was furious when he heard this. He pointed at Zhongli and roared. Shut up. Lu Hong coldly glared at Yi Jin before he shouted in a deep voice. Your Majesty. When Yi Jin saw Lu Hong's cold eyes, his heart sank, and he hurriedly bowed. I told you to shut up. Lu Hong grabbed an inkstone and threw it at Yi Jin. Bang! A sound was heard. Yi Jin's head was instantly hit by the inkstone, and his face was covered in blood. Your Majesty. Zhang Li's words cannot be trusted. No matter how reckless Yi Xian is, he would not try to kill General Ping Bei in broad daylight. When Wang Yun saw this, his face suddenly changed. He hurriedly stepped out and bowed. He had to step out. Yi Jin could take Zhang Li's place. If Yi Jin fell, all the officials in the court would be dealt with by Zhang Li. When Lu Hong heard this, he was stunned and looked at Zhang Li. The moment Lu Hong looked over, Zhongli's face was full of grievance. He then bowed and said, "Your Majesty, everything this servant said is true. Furthermore, Xian has already confessed and signed his name." Seeing his confession, this servant was so scared that my soul almost left my body. Luckily, this servant did not leave the palace recently. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I would have been killed by General He's assassins and lost my life in the underworld. When Zhongli's words fell, all the officials in the court were in an uproar. How is that possible? Xian is your Majesty's nephew. He can't rebel. Absolutely impossible. No matter how stubborn Xian is, he would not be so stupid as to try to kill General Ping Bei. Not to mention, he is no match for General Ping Bei. This is ridiculous. Your Majesty, please investigate this matter thoroughly and give justice to General Ping Bei. Your Majesty, please investigate this matter thoroughly and give justice to General Ping Bei. All the officials in the court expressed their opinions one by one. However, no one saw that a little eunuch at the entrance of the hall suddenly left in a hurry. At this moment, He Jin's eyes were wide open as he looked at Zhongli with a face full of rage. Zhongli's meaning was very simple. Xian was in Zhongli's hands. "Shut up, all of you!" Lu Hong shouted angrily as he looked at the ministers who were trying to persuade him. In the next second, all the civil and military officials shut their mouths. At this moment, Lu Hong looked at Zhongli and shouted, "Show me your confession. Your Majesty, this matter is of great importance. I'm afraid that He Jin's spies in the palace will destroy the evidence or even kill me. That's why I didn't bring it with me," Zhongli said with a frightened face. "Men, arrest He Jin." When Lu Hong heard this, his expression changed and he shouted. When all the cultural relics heard this, they all shut their mouths. No one pleaded for leniency. This was related to the safety of the emperor, so he could not reveal the truth. Otherwise, he would definitely be killed by Lu Hong mercilessly. At this moment, He Jin's complexion became incomparably pale. However, he didn't dare to move. He didn't dare to move at all. This was because if he moved, it would immediately trigger Lu Hong's nerves, and he would end up in a miserable state. Bang, bang, bang. A series of footsteps sounded. 2 imperial guards rushed into the main hall in an instant, and then grabbed He Jin's hands behind his back. Seeing that He Jin was caught, Lu Hong immediately heaved a sigh of relief. He then looked at Zhongli and shouted with gritted teeth, "Father, tell me the confession. Let Father go and get the confession. I want to see how audacious this He Jin is." "Yes, Your Majesty." When Zhongli heard this, he hurriedly bowed and left the hall. When he passed by Yichen, he secretly gave Yichen a look. When Yichen saw Zhongli's look, he immediately felt disgusted. Of course, Yichen understood what Zhongli meant. He wanted Yichen to cooperate with him to kill He Jin. At this moment, Lu Hong looked at Yichen and shouted, "General Ping Bei, tell me if this is true or not." When Lu Hong finished speaking, all the civil and military officials looked at Yichen. In their gazes, there were threats, requests, and ambiguities. Their goals were basically the same. They wanted Yichen to not speak nonsense and let He Jin go. Yichen directly ignored these gazes and then bowed. "Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Reporting to Your Majesty, when I just appeared, Xian was beating up 3rd Desi, who came to receive me on Your Majesty's orders. If I didn't take action, 3rd Desi's soul would have probably returned to the netherworld." When Yichen said this, he glanced at He Jin and then opened his mouth again. Xian beat up the angels and had no respect for Your Majesty. Therefore, I decided to capture Xian on the spot and hand him over to Your Majesty to deal with. However, when I was about to capture Xian, Wang Yu suddenly appeared and took Xian away. I immediately chased after him, but Wang Yu didn't listen to my advice and stubbornly refused to hand Xian over. Therefore, I killed on the spot and then captured Xian and handed him over to the 3rd Desi who had awakened. Everything I said is true and not false. Your Majesty, please make your decision. Yichen spoke with sincerity and without any falsehood. When Lu Hong heard this, his expression changed again and again. When He Jin heard this, he was instantly furious. Then, he looked at Yichen fiercely and shouted, General Pingbei, one must have a clear conscience. Yi Chen's words were too frightening. Of course, this was for He Jin. Although Yi Chen didn't explicitly say that Yi Xian rebelled, beating up the third disease was the same as slapping Lu Hong's face. It was no different from rebelling. How could Yi Jin not know this? Yi Jin didn't believe that Yi Xian was so stupid. Unfortunately, Yi Xian really did it. When Yi Chen heard this, he immediately looked at Yi Jin and said with a cold smile, "Great General, it's better for you to explain to His Majesty why Yi Xian suddenly appeared at the teleportation formation and did such an unethical thing." Yi Chen. When Yi Jin heard this, he instantly exploded and roared at Yi Chen. "Yi Jin, what else do you have to say?" At this moment, Lu Hong shouted with fire in his eyes. Zhongli was the person he trusted the most. He had sued Yi Jin for treason and Yi Xian's confession. Yi Chen was a peerless, valiant general who had made illustrious military achievements for him. He said that Yi Xian had no respect for His Majesty and wanted to capture Yi Xian and hand him over to be punished. However, Wang Yu ran out. Lu Hong had also heard of what kind of existence Wang Yu was. He was a swordsman with superb sword skills, or rather an assassin. He ran out to kidnap Yi Xian. Wasn't this clearly telling Lu Hong that there was something wrong with Yi Xian and Yi Jin as well? Because Wang Yu was F*** staying in Yi Jin's residence. When he thought of this, Lu Hong felt terrible. At this moment, all the civil and military officials in the imperial court looked at each other in disbelief. They also knew about Wang Yu and knew that Wang Yu was in Yi Jin's residence. Some had even seen Wang Yu practicing his sword in Yi Jin's residence. If it was really as Yi Chen said, then Yi Xian wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. Time passed slowly. Not long after, Zhongli ran and stumbling and shouted as he ran, "Your Majesty, not good, not good." Chapter 287. When Lu Hong heard this, he was stunned and asked, "What's the matter? Why are you in such a panic?" Zhongli stumbled in front of Lu Hong and bowed. "Your Majesty, Yi Xian committed suicide to avoid punishment." "Zhongli, you bastard! Give me back my son's life." When Yi Jin heard this, his eyes turned red. He broke free from the two imperial guards and rushed towards Zhongli. Yi Jin. Lu Hong was still in a daze because Yi Jin had died of saltiness. Now that he saw Yi Jin rushing over like a madman, he was shocked and shouted in shock, "Protect the Emperor! Protect the Emperor!" Zhongli hurriedly stood in front of Lu Hong and shouted, "General, you can't." All of the officials and generals were stunned, and then they all began to shout. Some of the generals even hurriedly went to grab Yi Jin. At this moment, Yi Chen moved and came beside Yi Jin. He grabbed Yi Jin's neck and pressed him to the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Yi Jin was instantly pressed to the ground. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. "Guards, drag Yi Jin out of here. Death by 1,000 cuts." Lu Hong shouted as he looked at Yi Jin on the ground with a ferocious expression. At this moment, a scream was heard. "Your Majesty!" No! A beautiful woman in a luxurious dress was holding a child's hand and came to the main hall with a sad face. "Your humble servant greets the Empress." All the officials bowed. Yi Chen was stunned and followed the officials to greet her. When Lu Hong saw Empress He, his anger dissipated. When he saw the child beside Empress He, his anger disappeared. Although his anger was still there, it was not as strong as before. "Your son greets the Emperor." The boy came forward and bowed to Lu Hong. "Bien, are you going to plead for Yi Jin?" Lu Hong was silent for a moment and asked. The boy was Lu Bien, the young Emperor of Han. "Father, it's impossible for Uncle to rebel. If Uncle rebels, Bien will be the first to disagree." Hearing Lu Hong's question, Lu Bien looked at Empress He and whispered. Obviously, Lu Bien's words came from Empress He. Otherwise, he would not have done this and said it without confidence. "Your Majesty, my elder brother has done his best for your Majesty. There is no reason for him to rebel. I am willing to guarantee it with my life." Empress He bowed and said. When Lu Hong heard this, he let out a long sigh and tore the confession in Zhong Li's hand into pieces. "Yi Xian has committed an unforgivable crime, for beating an angel. Since he committed suicide, he will be stripped of his official position and title. Although He Jin roared at the imperial court and disregarded the emperor, it was because of his son. There is a reason for this, but he must be punished. He will be ordered to reflect on his mistakes behind closed doors for 1 month, and his salary will be deducted for 10 years. When he heard this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Damn, He Jin is indeed a key figure. He won't die so easily unless I kill him. Well, with He Jin dead, the rest of the historical plot, the chaos of Dongda, would probably change. After Yi Chen finished thinking, he bowed together with the other civil and military officials. Your Majesty is wise. Lu Hong nodded and glanced at Empress He. Then, he looked at Yi Chen and said, the great Han Empire's general who pacifies the north. Yi Chen, you have made great contributions to the army. You are the general of agile cavalry, the governor of Yuzhou, and the marquee champion. When Yi Chen heard this, he opened his eyes wide. That son of a bitch, He Jin is really a good person. Without him, the reward would be the same as before. Great, I am now the general of agile cavalry, and I am now the governor of Yuzhou. F***CK. With this official position, this noble title, I will officially become a duke of a region. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but glance at Yi Jin. Then, he looked at Lu Hong and bowed excitedly. Thank you, Your Majesty. Long live the Emperor. Long live the Emperor. As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being promoted to the Great Han Empire's General of Agile Cavalry, the Governor of Yuzhou, and the Marquee Champion. The world announcement sounded 3 times in a row and instantly blew up the world channel. Waha! Boss Yi Chen is invincible. Did you see that? I'm asking you, did you see that? General of Agile Cavalry, Governor of Yuzhou. He's a big shot. Damn, damn, damn. Are you kidding me? Yi Chen is the General of Agile Cavalry, and he is the Governor of Yuzhou? Doesn't this mean that Yi Chen is qualified to compete for hegemony? Nonsense. He is the Governor of Yuzhou. The entire Yuzhou belongs to Yi Chen. All the military and political power are in Yi Chen's hands. He is a duke. As long as the Great Han Empire is destroyed, Yi Chen will immediately compete for hegemony. Damn, did Yi Chen eat a strength pill? Damn it, this father has been living in Yuzhou province for a long time. I just want to ask, will Yi Chen drive away the players in Yuzhou? Damn, Yi Chen has never accepted subordinates. Now that Yuzhou has become Yi Chen's, won't he drive away all the players? Damn, if Yi Chen wants to drive players away, it's F***king legal. Yuzhou province is Yi Chen's territory. Whoever dares to resist will be imprisoned for 10 days to half a month, or even for the rest of their lives. Guru Yi Chen, please don't drive away the players in Yuzhou. We've finally accumulated some resources here. If we lose them, how can we survive? Yeah, Boss Yi Chen, please don't drive us away. As long as Boss Yi Chen doesn't drive us away, we will do whatever you want us to do. Boss Yi Chen won't be so heartless. We won't cause trouble. What's the point of worrying about that? Whether or not we chase players away depends on Yi Chen's decision. I only want to know one thing right now. If Yi Chen succeeds in conquering the world, F***CK, do we still have a chance to live? Damn, if he succeeds, won't we have to kneel down before Yi Chen? If we don't kneel down, will we be deceiving him? We can't let Yi Chen succeed. I'll kneel to the heavens and the earth, but I'll never kneel to Yi Chen. Mother of ***, where are those awesome lords? You guys should put in more effort and chase after them. Don't let Yi Chen dominate the world by himself. Idiot, those awesome lords will definitely compete for hegemony in the end. Nonsense. Do they have the heart to compete for hegemony? Do they have the strength to do so? Everything is trash in front of Yi Chen. Otherwise, why would there only be one Samsara city? Beauty Town congratulates Cavalry General Yi Chen for taking control of Yuzhou and becoming a hegemon. Templar Town congratulates Yuzhou Governor Yi Chen for taking control of Yuzhou and becoming a hegemon. Chapter 288. The world channel was in an uproar. They were shocked, envious, worried, fearful, hostile, and congratulatory messages. Yichen glanced at it and ignored it. Regardless of what the other players thought, Yichen would only do what he wanted to do. Anyone who dared to find trouble with him was an enemy. When dealing with an enemy, there was no other way but to kill. Lu Hong looked at the excited Yichen and nodded with satisfaction. Then he said in a deep voice, Yichen, I'll leave Yuzhou to you. Guard Yuzhou well. I give you the authority to act as you see fit. If you hear of any small rebellion, you must eliminate it immediately. Do you understand? When the generals who followed He-Jin heard this, their expressions turned unnatural. Yichen's cavalry grand general wasn't much inferior to He-Jin's grand general. Moreover, Yichen was also the Yuzhou overseer. His status was no different from He-Jin's, and he had more authority. Of course, this wasn't important. What was important was that Lu Hong had given Yichen the authority to act as he saw fit. If they were regarded as rebels by Yichen, and he made up some facts to act first and report later, it would be too late for them to cry. It was He-Jin's fault for becoming enemies with Yichen, and they were following He-Jin. Yichen was slightly surprised when he heard this. He glanced at He-Jin and bowed heavily as he replied, Your humble servant, as you wish. How could Yichen not understand Lu Hong's meaning? Lu Hong was afraid of He-Jin and wanted to use Yichen to restrain He-Jin. Therefore, Lu Hong had vaguely told Yichen that if He-Jin dared to rebel, he would be killed immediately. This was also the reason why Yichen's reward was increased by another level. When Lu Hong saw this, a smile suddenly appeared on his face that had not been smiling for a long time. Then, he walked up to Yichen and patted him heavily on the shoulder. Yichen, govern Yuzhou well. As long as you are loyal to us and the great Han dynasty, we won't treat you unfairly. Your humble servant obeys your majesty's decree. Your humble servant swears that no matter who it is, if they dare to go against your majesty or disobey your majesty, your humble servant will behead them. When Yichen heard this, he immediately bowed and shouted passionately. Yichen's words seemed to be loyal, but in reality, he only mentioned Lu Hong, and not the emperor of the great Han dynasty after Lu Hong. He didn't mention the great Han Empire. Yichen did not intend to fight for hegemony while Lu Hong was still alive. If he wanted to fight, he would definitely fight. However, that would be after Lu Hong died, and there was not much time left. Good, we believe you. When Lu Hong heard this, his eyes widened and he laughed loudly. If a player was here, they would definitely open their eyes wide. F***CK. What Yichen said was true, but there were so many loopholes in his words, and Lu Hong actually thought that Yichen was a good person. Yichen was the #1 player, and now he was the governor of Yuzhou, the great general of agile cavalry. Although he was honest now, it wouldn't be long before he revealed his fangs. He wouldn't be loyal to the great Han Empire. Of course, Yichen was the only player in the imperial court. No one knew how history would develop. So how could they understand the hidden meaning in Yichen's words? In the ears of all the officials, there was only one word: great general of agile cavalry, Yichen. Yi Yuzhou was a loyal official of the great Han Empire. At this moment, a eunuch hurriedly ran in. As soon as he entered the door, he bowed and said, Reporting to your majesty, there is a commoner called Shun Wansan at the gate of the imperial city. He requests an audience with your majesty, saying that someone wants to rebel. When Yichen heard this, he couldn't help but frown. Rebellion. They had caught Tang Zhou. He didn't think that the process of this life would be brought forward. Thinking of this, Yichen couldn't help but smirk. That's fine. If it's brought forward, then so be it. It doesn't matter if I collect historical figures while fighting. Just as Yichen thought of this, the officials in the imperial court were in an uproar. Who dares to be so bold as to rebel? We must capture them and execute them with 1,000 cuts. A civil official roared with a face full of rage. They have no respect for the emperor and are spying on the state. They must be killed. A general shouted. This sort of rebel must be exterminated to intimidate the weak. Wang Yin looked at Lu Hong, whose face was turning red, and bowed. Your Majesty, we should immediately summon this Shun Wansan and ask him about the details. If it's true, we should use thunderous methods to exterminate the rebels. When Lu Hong heard this, his anger exploded. He looked at the eunuch and angrily barked, "Summon him into the hall." After saying this, he returned to his throne, his face ashen. Previously, when Zhongli had accused He Jin of rebellion, Lu Hong had given up on the idea of executing He Jin because of Lu Bian and Empress He. Of course, this also had to do with the immense military power He Jin wielded. Lu Hong was also worried that He Jin would rebel. If it was true, executing He Jin would lead to a mutiny. But the moment he let He Jin go, someone came to tell Lu Hong that someone else wanted to rebel. How could Lu Hong not be angry? "Yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty." When the eunuch heard this, he hurriedly bowed in response and ran to summon Shun Wansan. Not long after, a middle-aged man in a luxurious robe followed the eunuch into the hall. Yi Chen glanced at the middle-aged man and raised his eyebrows. Shun Wansan seemed to be the second person to advance to the king level. If that was the case, he was also one of the people who had obtained the game capsule. When the game had just started, he had logged into the game and watched Pangu split open the heavens and obtain the Xiantian cultivation technique. Unfortunately, his name wasn't among the experts of the later generations. He should have been killed by someone. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, Shun Wansan arrived beside Yi Chen. He looked at Lu Hong and bowed. "This commoner, Shun Wansan, greets Your Majesty. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! Speak, who wants a rebel? If you lie, we will execute your entire family." Lu Hong glared fiercely at Shun Wansan and shouted in a deep voice. At this moment, Lu Hong was very unwilling to hear that someone wanted to rebel. This meant that someone wanted to steal his throne and that he was incompetent at ruling the country. When Shun Wansan heard this, he couldn't help but frown and bow. "Reporting to Your Majesty, it is Zhang Jiao from the Road of Peace who wants to rebel. This commoner has a secret letter from Zhang Jiao to his disciple, Tang Zhou. Please take a look, Your Majesty." After Shun Wansan finished speaking, he waved his right hand and an unopened secret letter appeared in his hand. When Zhongli saw this, he hurriedly walked down the steps and came to Shun Wansan's side. He took the letter and examined it. After confirming that it wasn't poisonous, he returned to Lu Hong's side and handed the letter to Lu Hong. After Lu Hong received it, he tore it open and took out the letter to read it. Not long after, Lu Hong suddenly stood up and angrily shouted, "Zhang Jiao, we will pull out your tendons, flay your skin, and put you to death by 1,000 cuts. Your Majesty, this lowly subject has heard of Zhang Jiao. However, rumor has it that he is kind and charitable and isn't an evil person," a civil official said with a frown. "Men, capture this traitor and put him to death by 1,000 cuts." When Lu Hong heard this, he was immediately provoked. He didn't hesitate to point at the civil official and angrily shout. Chapter 289. Your Majesty, what crime have I committed? Why do you want to kill this lowly official? A loud shout came from the civil official's mouth. His voice was full of anger and fear. He didn't expect that his words would provoke Lu Hong into wanting to kill him. When Lu Hong heard this, he was instantly enraged and shouted. He shouted, "You want to know the reason? I'll tell you. You're in cahoots with Zhang Jiao. Speaking for him makes you a traitor. Why can't I kill him?" The civil official's expression changed, and he hurriedly shouted, "Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The matter of Zhang Jiao being a traitor has yet to be confirmed. I don't know the details. I'm just speculating based on the rumors. I'm not speaking for Zhang Jiao." Bang, bang, bang. Hurried footsteps were heard. The two Imperial guards quickened their pace when they heard Lu Hong's angry voice. They soon arrived at the main hall. "You still dare to deny it? I've already said that Zhang Jiao is a traitor. You still dare to speak for him? You say you're not a traitor. Do you think I'm easy to deceive?" Lu Hong said angrily, then pointed at the civil official and shouted, "Drag him out and execute him with 1,000 cuts. Fatuous ruler, Fatuous ruler. I won't accept this. I won't accept this. The civil official jumped up and cursed. The two imperial guards hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed the civil official, then dragged him out of the main hall. Execute his entire family. Don't leave a single one alive. When Lu Hong heard this, the flames of fury in his eyes surged as he roared out, Your Majesty, may I take a look at this secret letter? Wang Yun stepped forward and asked with a bow, Show them. Hearing this, Lu Hong looked at Zhang Li and shouted, Yes, Your Majesty. Zhang Li hurriedly bowed and replied. He took the secret letter down the steps and handed it to Yi Chun. General of Agile Cavalry, this is the secret letter from the traitor Zhang Jiao. Yi Chun was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Zhang Li to give it to him first instead of Wang Yun. Wang Yun, who was waiting for the secret letter, suddenly frowned. He looked at Zhang Li, then looked at Yi Chun and frowned. It wasn't just Wang Yun. Some of the ministers were frowning, especially the generals who followed Yi Jin. Their faces were all twisted into bitter gourds. F***, Wang Yun said he wanted to see it, but Zhang Li actually showed it to Yi Chun first. It would be weird if there wasn't something fishy going on. If Yi Chun was really in cahoots with Zhang Li, then they would definitely have a hard time in the future. An influential eunuch and the head of Yuzhou province who had a large number of soldiers, F***, how could they play the game? Yi Chun looked at Zhang Changshi and said seriously, Thank you, Zhang Changshi. After saying that, he opened the secret letter and read it. In fact, Yi Chun knew the contents of the secret letter without even reading it. It was nothing more than Zhang Jiao ordering Ma Yune to cause trouble in Luoyang. Even though he knew, Yi Chun still had to put on an act for everyone to see. Otherwise, people might think that Yi Chun already knew the contents of the secret letter. If that happened, wouldn't Yi Chun become part of the Golden Scarf Rebellion? When Zhang Li heard this, he immediately beamed with joy at Yi Chun before returning to Lu Hong's side. Yi Chun didn't give Zhang Li any face in front of all the civil and military officials and even thanked him. Zhang Li was naturally happy, and this was also his goal. He wanted to tell everyone that the Great Han Empire's newly promoted swift cavalry great general, Yozhou's governor, Yi Chun, was in cahoots with him. This was because the other ministers, even in the imperial court, didn't give Zhang Li any face. They all wanted nothing more than to skin him alive. But Yi Chun was different. Although he had a serious expression, if he wasn't serious at this moment, wouldn't he be looking for trouble? Zhang Jiao wanted to rebel, and Lu Hong was furious. You're awesome, so why don't you have fun? It would be strange if Lu Hong didn't kill you. Yi Chun naturally saw through Zhang Li's thoughts, but at this moment, Yi Chun had already become a vassal and no longer had his previous taboos. He wasn't worried about the ministers of the imperial court finding trouble with him. Yi Chun wasn't afraid of any trouble, because Yi Chun had already become the swift cavalry great general and was also the Yuzhou governor. He already had the foundation needed to contend for hegemony, and he was the first one to do so. Moreover, Yi Chun's treatment of Zhang Li didn't mean that Yi Chun was in cahoots with Zhang Li. It could only mean that Yi Chun was polite and wasn't in cahoots with the eunuchs. Otherwise, the civil and military officials of the imperial court would have already been on the same page. Yi Chun read the secret letter for a while and then casually handed it to Lu Ji behind him, without even looking at Wang Yun. For Yi Chun, Wang Yun was an existence that he wanted to kill long ago. Making him sullen naturally made Yi Chun happy. Just as Yi Chun expected, Yi Chun's action instantly made Wang Yun's expression change again and again. Lu Ji didn't care about Wang Yun's expression. After receiving the secret letter, he directly read it. After reading it, his face suddenly darkened, and then he handed the secret letter to the military general next to him. When the civil officials saw this, they immediately blew their beards and glared, extremely angry. Because of such a big matter, the military officials actually didn't let them read it first. How could they tolerate this? Since ancient times, the civil and military officials had been enemies. For the Great Han Empire, the civil and military officials had begun to unite because of Zhang Li and the other eunuchs. But now, Yi Chun had casually broken it. Not long after, the civil officials' anger came out wave after wave. This was because the secret letter only reached their hands after the last military general finished reading it. And among them, Wang Yun, who was the first to speak, had the ugliest expression. At this moment, Shan Wansen glanced at Yi Chan with a strange look in his eyes. Then, he continued to wait quietly without saying anything. When he heard Zhang Li call Yi Chan the general of the Agile Cavalry, he immediately recognized the identity of the man next to him. He was the human race's #1 player, Yi Chan. And now, he finally discovered another perverse aspect of Yi Chan. This damn method of playing with people's hearts was simply at his fingertips. As a player, how could Shen Wansen not know Yi Chen's goal? It was to mess up the hierarchy of the Great Han Empire's officials and make them fight with all their might. The fiercer the fight, the faster the Great Han Empire would be finished. When Wang Yun finished reading the secret letter with an ashen face, he immediately stepped out and bowed. "Your Majesty, Zhang Jiao must be eliminated as soon as possible, otherwise the world will be in chaos." At this moment, a world announcement suddenly rang out. Ding! Player Shun Wansan captured Tang Zhou and handed the secret letter to the Han Empire. The Path of Peace's secret plot has been exposed. The Wheel of History has been activated. The time has been pushed forward to February of 1848 AD. Ding! At the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty, there were endless natural disasters. Eunuchs rebelled, the people had no way of making a living, and bandits were everywhere. The Great Han Empire's destiny was coming to an end. Virtuous teacher Zhang Jiao called himself General of the Heaven Duke. Zhang Bao called himself General of the Earth Duke. And this year, Zhang Liang called himself General of the Human Duke and rose up in Julu. Ding! Historical storyline. The Golden Turban Rebellion has officially begun. Chapter 290. Ding! Due to the influence of the Golden Turban, the teleportation portals in the major cities of the Great Han Empire are suspended until the end of the storyline. The moment the world announcement rang out, Yi Chan felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. When he reappeared, he was already back in the governor's mansion of Samsara City. When Yi Chan noticed this, he could not help raising his eyebrows. Sure enough, the players had activated the storyline in advance. The Lord would return to their own territories, while the individual players would be teleported to the outskirts at this moment. The world announcement was flooded with messages. F***CK. Who is Shun Wansan? How did that son of a bitch catch Tang Zhou? So what if he caught him? There's no world announcement. Obviously, he didn't get anything. Even if he did, he's just a minor official. Otherwise, there would have been a world announcement. Ha! The Golden Turban Rebellion is finally activated. Now we can level up quickly and farm for equipment. They're everywhere. This is a good opportunity. Now no one will fight for it. The Great Han Empire is full of golden turbans. By the way, we've all been teleported to the outskirts. Where's Yi Chun? Is he still in Luoyang? I don't see him here. I don't see him here either. No, Yi Chun might really be in Luoyang. The teleportation portals can't be used. This way, Yi Chun is trapped. Trap my ass. Yi Chun is now the governor of Yuzhou and the general of Agile Cavalry. The gates of Luoyang are closed, but Yi Chun can come out anytime he wants. The key is that Yi Chun's position is too high. Lu Hong definitely won't let Yi Chun stay in Luoyang. He'll definitely ask him to go back to Yuzhou and wipe out the Golden Turban Army. F***CK, I hope that's not the case. Otherwise, with Yi Chun's participation, the benefits we can get will be greatly reduced. I don't care if Yi Chun participates or not. I just hope that Zhang Jiao can destroy Samsara City. Then, no matter how powerful Yi Chun is, he will be alone. Idiot, do you think that boss Yi Chun is weak? He can kill Zhang Jiao in a matter of minutes. You're all dreaming. Let me tell you, I'm a feudal lord, and I'm returning to my own territory now. Yi Chun must be the same. F***CK. It's so F***king annoying. The world channel was extremely lively. Yi Chun casually glanced at it, then curled his lips in disdain. Yi Chun naturally knew what the players were thinking. It was all because they couldn't bear to see him continue to grow stronger. They hoped that he wouldn't be able to participate in the Golden Turban Rebellion. They even hoped that someone would take care of him. At the end of the day, the players envied Yi Chun, and hated Yi Chun. After all, Yi Chun was the most powerful person in the human race. He was powerful and powerful. If Yi Chun continued to grow, they wouldn't be able to survive. Just as Yi Chun finished thinking, the World Channel announcement sounded again. But this time, it was obviously different from before. Ding! The Golden Turban Bandits have coveted the country and brought chaos to the world. I have recruited heroes from all over the world to destroy the Golden Turban Bandits. In order to show fairness, I have set up the military merit list. Killing the Golden Turban Bandits will earn you military merit. Those with military merit can exchange for cultivation methods, weapons, armor, war horses, spiritual herbs, and other items on the military merit list. After the war, you will be rewarded according to your contribution. Those in the top 10 will be conferred the title of nobility. Ding! The heaven is dead, and the yellow heaven will rise. In the 60-year cycle, the world will be blessed. I have recruited heroes from all over the world to overthrow the Han Dynasty's tyranny. In order to show fairness, I have set up the military merit list. Killing the Han Dynasty's soldiers will earn you military merit. Those with military merit can exchange for cultivation methods, weapons, armor, war horses, spiritual herbs, and other items on the military merit list. After the war, you will be rewarded according to your contribution. Those in the top 10 will be conferred the title of nobility. After the World Channel announcement sounded 3 times, Yi Chen's lips curled up, the military merit list was opened, and the military merit list was about to be released. This time, no matter what, he had to go on a killing spree. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the system notification sounded. Ding! The Golden Turban Rebellion plot has started. Player Yi Chun, please confirm your faction within 3 minutes. 1. Golden Turban 2. Early Han 3. Neutral. Ding! Player Yi Chun, if you choose the Golden Turban faction, you will receive Village Creation Token, Golden Turban Real, X1, Gold X1000, Soldier Recruitment Token, Golden Turban, Yellow Real, X1, Territory Upgrade Scroll, Golden Turban Real, X3. Hearing the system notification, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The system knew that the players were naturally inclined to the Burly Han faction, so it specially made adjustments in his previous life. The Golden Turban Rebellion had started, and it was the same in this life. This time, a large number of gamblers might appear. After all, the rewards for choosing the Golden Turban faction were too generous. Thinking of this, Yi Chen didn't hesitate to make his choice. Burly Han. Yi Chun was the governor of Yuzhou, the general of the Great Han Empire's swift cavalry. Unless Yi Chun was stupid, how could he choose the Golden Turban faction and become Zhang Jiao's subordinate? Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chun for choosing the Burly Han faction. The Great Han Empire military merit list has been opened. After the system notification ended, a transparent military merit list instantly appeared in front of Yi Chun. After glancing at the military merit list, Yi Chun couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The first place is mine. Just as Yi Chun finished thinking, the World Channel started to flood. Holy shit, what did I just hear? The system actually told me that choosing the Golden Turban faction will give me a bunch of benefits. The Village Creation Token is a true Village Creation Token. Although it's a Golden Turban, it's still a Village Creation Token. The other 2 items are also true. You heard it too? Holy shit, I heard it too. I thought it was fake. The rewards are too good, right? Holy shit, the system must know that we all like to choose the Burly Han faction, so they made adjustments like this. Holy shit, how am I supposed to choose? If I choose the Golden Turban faction and fail, I won't be able to level up for a long time. I won't even have a place to resupply. What's there to think about? Joining the Golden Turban faction will give you 3 true items. The Village Creation Token can be used in the real world. After using the Village Creation Token, you'll have a territory in the real world. As long as you upgrade your territory to a town and use the territory upgrade scroll 3 times, you'll become a city. Not to mention the Soldier Recruitment Token. If you use the soldier recruitment token in the real world, even if you recruit a golden turban faction, they'll still be your subordinates. That's right. Even if you fail, so what? As long as you have your own territory in the real world, your safety will be greatly improved. Don't forget, that bastard Yi Chun even built a city in the real world. It must be useful. That's right. That bullshit Safe City's protective shield is getting weaker and weaker. With your own territory and your own subordinates, you won't have to be afraid of the shifters. If one comes, we'll kill one. If two come, we'll kill two. If you don't feel safe, we can join forces. We'll have more subordinates, so we'll definitely be safe. Holy shit, I'll bet. I'll choose the Golden Turban faction. The world channel was flooded with messages. Yichen glanced at it, then curled his lips in disdain. The majority of the players who praised the Golden Turban faction were actually trying to encourage more players to choose the Golden Turban faction. Because they were definitely going to choose the Golden Turban faction, but they were afraid of failure, so they kept encouraging and enticing more players to choose the Golden Turban faction. The more players who chose the Golden Turban faction, the easier it would be for them to succeed. Only then would they be able to avoid the punishment of failure. Chapter 291. Unfortunately, these people thought too highly of themselves. After joining the Golden Turbans, once the Golden Turbans were defeated, those who chose to join the Golden Turbans would definitely be severely punished. Their attributes in the real world would be halved, and they would become sinners of the Great Han Empire. They would not be able to level up, buy anything, or sell anything. Even if they traded with other players, they would not be able to use a single coin. As for the village creation orders, army recruitment orders, and territory upgrade scrolls that came from the Golden Turbans, they would all lose their effect at that time. The players who used the village creation orders from the Golden Turbans in the real world would have their territories turned to dust, and all the Golden Turbans that were summoned would also die. Of course, if the Golden Turbans won, the players who chose to join the Great Han Empire would also be punished. As for how the punishment would be, Yichen did not know, because in his previous life, the Great Han Empire won. And in this life, Yichen would not let the Great Han Empire lose. Just as Yichen thought of this, the world announcement that had just disappeared rang again. Ding! The Great Han Empire is about to end. The Kyushu barrier has lost its effect. The shifters have officially entered the world. The world announcement rang out 3 times in a row. It was like a thunderclap that exploded in the world channel. F*CK. F*CK. What's going on? F*CK. Why did the shifters come out? Aren't they always in other worlds? If the shifters come out, then won't the humans be miserable? The shifters in the real world are very powerful. They must be even stronger in the game. F*CK. Why did the shifters jump out to join in the fun? F*CK. Wouldn't it be better if they just stayed in their world? Why do they come out to find trouble? I think it's better if the shifters come out. Although the shifters are the mortal enemies of the humans, they are still useful. Don't forget who the number 1 human is. F*CK. You're a traitor. You actually want the shifters to kill Yichen? Yichen has been killed. Who else in the human clan can stop the demon clan? Idiot. If Yichen dies, this world and the real world will belong to the shifters. Do you really want the humans to go extinct? F*CK. Don't you understand? This is the F*King game world. Even if Yichen is killed, he'll only drop a level, but he won't die. However, he can forget about keeping Samsara City. As long as Samsara City is flattened, Yichen will be a lone commander. Won't we have a chance then? Mother of*Ker, you make it sound nice, but the shifters are here. Yichen has fallen, and if humans can't hold off the shifters, won't the game world still belong to the shifters? This is a place where we can improve our strength. It's fine for a short period of time, but as time passes, we won't be able to improve our strength while the shifters get stronger. How are we supposed to survive then? Who said we can't hold off the shifters? Don't forget, there's still Jin and Big Han. I don't believe that they'll do nothing to the shifters. Besides, the shifters are also monsters to us humans. We'll definitely gain experience points if we kill them. Even if the world belongs to the shifters, so what? Everyone will have the same starting line. I think it's fairer. F*CK, that's true. Even if the shifters replace Big Han and Jean, it doesn't matter. We can continue to kill monsters and get equipment, and continue to level up and become stronger. F*CK. What you said makes a lot of sense. In the World Channel, the players' discussion kept flooding the screen. Yichen glanced at it and smiled coldly. The players were divided into two factions. Some hoped that Yichen could hold off the shifters, while others hoped that Yichen would be killed by the shifters. Those who didn't want Yichen to fall didn't want to see the shifters take over the world. If that happened, they might not be able to level up and become stronger. They would have a miserable life in the real world. On the other hand, those who hoped that Yichen would fall and Samsara City would be flattened hoped that Yichen would be weakened. That way, they could compete with Yichen instead of being suppressed by Yichen. However, no matter which faction they were in fact, 99% of them were thinking about themselves instead of the so-called survival of the human race. Those who were truly worried about the survival of the human race basically didn't exist. After the meteor fell, this kind of person with a kind heart was the first to be harmed. Only some hypocrisy remained in the world. Behind the hypocrisy was endless desire and hope. This was an era where the strong preyed on the weak. The law of the jungle was followed. Kindness could only bring about death. There were very few exceptions. If the shifters replaced the human race and took over the world, the players could continue to become stronger and wouldn't endanger their safety in the real world. Therefore, it was safe to say that 99% of the players would have the same idea. That was, the shifters should quickly kill Yichen, whether in the game or in the real world. This was because Yichen was too abnormal and too powerful. He had stolen too many good things. Even if everything that Yichen had obtained was obtained by Yichen through his own efforts, no one thought that it belonged to Yichen. In everyone's opinion, they had a chance to obtain everything that Yichen had obtained. However, because of Yichen's appearance, the things that they originally had a chance to obtain were all stolen by Yichen. This was what the players thought. Yichen understood it very well. However, Yichen didn't care at all. No matter what others thought, Yichen only had one thing to do: keep getting stronger. He was strong enough to make all living things tremble, strong enough to make all living things despair. Just as Yichen thought of this, the world announcement sounded again. Ding! The world is heartless and treats all things like straw dogs. The shifters have appeared, and the human race is in imminent danger. I, the Emperor, summon the heroes of the world to slay the shifters. For the sake of justice, the merit leaderboard is established. Slaying the shifters will earn you merit. Those with merit can exchange for cultivation techniques, weapons, armor, building blueprints, precious items, and other items on the merit leaderboard. The world announcement was repeated 3 times, once again causing the world channel to explode. However, this time, it was clearly different. Ha ha ha, I'm finally out. F***K, human trash. Hurry up and wash yourselves clean. Grandpa Pig will eat all of you up. Hee hee, the shifters can finally appear. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I thought I wouldn't be able to meet the humans. Great, I'm going to slaughter them all. Ayo, 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 roar. F***KU, shifters trash. You'll be slaughtered even if you come. Just you wait. I'll show you what it means to have strength in numbers. What a joke. Foolish humans. Do you think the shifters have a small population? Let me tell you, in terms of numbers, the human race is no match for us. Why waste your breath on them? Attack. There's a human village here. Flatten it and eat everyone inside. Ha ha, brothers of the shifters, let's kill. Eat to your heart's content. The more we eat, the stronger we will be. Chapter 292. Reincarnation City, Castellan Mansion, Main Hall. Yichen sneered as he watched the comments of the shifter race players on the World Channel. The number of shifter race players was huge, and they were generally stronger than the human players. However, they did not understand how crazy the human players were. To the shifter race, the human players were moving elixirs. They could quickly increase their strength by eating them. However, to the human players, the shifter race was also a moving treasure trove. They not only gave a lot of EXP, but also dropped a lot of good items. Elixirs, skills, village creation orders, army recruitment orders, and all kinds of strange items that had the word true in them. In addition to all kinds of good items, killing the shifter race players would also give them merit points, which could be exchanged for items on the merit rankings. Because at this moment, the main characters of the world were the humans. As long as someone killed the shifter race and discovered this secret, it would immediately cause everyone to go crazy. This was the game world. As long as they were not killed by Yi Chun, they would only lose 10 levels. They would not really die. However, this was not important. The important thing was that as long as the human players could continuously kill the shifter race players, their strength would continue to increase. They could also obtain skills, weapons, armors, and other rare items. This was a great opportunity for the human players who had always been eager to become stronger, but had always been slow to improve. Of course, the shifter race players who could drop good items were the shifter race players. They were all very powerful. However, this could not stop the crazy players. If one person could not kill the shifter race players, 10 or even 100 people could kill the shifter race players. As long as they killed the shifter race players, they would definitely drop a skill book with the word true, and it would be at least at the king level. No one was not excited. No one was not crazy. Thinking of this, Yi Chun immediately looked at his attribute panel and then added the 40 innate attribute points that he had obtained from killing Wang Yu to his primordial spirit. An indescribable feeling of comfort instantly spread from Yi Chun's soul. After a few breaths, Yi Chun opened his eyes and could not help but smile. Not bad, not bad. The range of the primordial spirit's perception had increased again. Yi Chun, Marquis Champion, General of Agile Cavalry, Governor of Yuzhou, Governor of Samsara City. Title: Spear God. Characteristics: when using spear-type weapons, attack power x4, accuracy x4, comprehension plus 200 Saint-level generals. Level: 98 battle achievement, 0 merit, 0 mortal evolution state, 1 sealed immortal bones, 1 star immortal spirit body, 1 primordial spirit, 90 sealed luck, profound cultivation method, 9 revolutions mysterious art, chaos, Shunxiao imperial thunder technique, chaos. Technique: reincarnation spear technique. Innate equipment: God Slayer, damaged, connate cardinal treasure, fire spirit pearl, connate spiritual treasure, treasure fall coin, supreme grade connate spiritual treasure, black cloud armor, mystic, genuine. Yi Chun raised his eyebrows when he glanced at the attribute panel. I'm now Marquis Champion, General of Agile Cavalry and Governor of Yuzhou Province. Meritorious deeds and reputation are useless for me now. No wonder these 2 attributes were gone from the attribute panel. Yi Chun waved his right hand, and a black armor appeared in Yi Chun's hand. I got the black cloud armor a long time ago, and it helped me a lot. But now my body is strong enough to resist heaven-grade weapons. I don't need this armor anymore. Thinking of this, Yi Chun immediately cut off the connection with the black cloud armor and threw it into his storage space. The merit leaderboard is now open. Together with the war achievement leaderboard, it's time to farm merit. As soon as Yi Chun finished his thought, hurried footsteps could be heard. Thud, thud, thud. Zhao Yun, Wei, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, Mi Zhu, and Kaiyin all came to the hall. They bowed as soon as they entered. Greetings, Lord. Yi Chun smiled and nodded. Just when he was about to speak, Yi hurriedly bowed. Lord, a large number of Golden Turban Army soldiers have gathered outside Samsara City. They are challenging us outside the city. Without your order, no one dares to act on their own. Please make a decision quickly. Yi Chun narrowed his eyes and shouted, What a bunch of ants! A group of ants dares to be so arrogant? Who is the leader? My lord, the man calls himself Zhou Tsong. When Yi heard this, he bowed and replied, When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. Once the Golden Turban Rebellion began, the Golden Turban Army would appear in all the town-level territories. Samsara City was a city, so it was no exception. However, Yi Chen did not expect a famous general of the Golden Turban Army, Zhou Tsang, to appear outside Samsara City. Although he was not a powerful figure, he was a second-rate historical general who later became Guan Yu's guard. Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but raise his eyebrows. Then, he looked at Zhao Yunzheng, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng and asked, "How's the training of the new soldiers in Samsara City going?" Reporting to the Lord, the 600,000 new recruits have finished their training and are ready to enter the battlefield at any time to kill the enemy. Zhao Yunzheng, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng bowed respectfully at Yi Chen's question. Hearing this, Yi Chen nodded in satisfaction and said, "Very good." After saying that, he looked at Mi Zhu and shouted, "Zizhong, listen up." Mi Zhu got down on one knee and said loudly, "Yes, Lord. Take 300,000 soldiers and guard the reincarnation city." Yi Chen glanced at Mi Zhu and shouted, "Yes, Lord." Mi Zhu was stunned for a moment and then replied loudly. He knew that Yi Chen was going to lead the army to battle, but he did not expect that Yi Chen would leave 300,000 soldiers to guard Samsara City. It was not easy to enter the reincarnation city. Just the overbearing wall at the entrance of the reincarnation valley was not easy to climb. Not to mention, there were 15,000 ballistae in Samsara City. Their lethality was almost exploding. Yi Chen naturally saw Mi Zhu's confusion and understood what Mi Zhu was thinking. He then said solemnly, "Don't worry. Zizhong, Samsara City is our foundation. Not only is there a rebellion by the Golden Turbans, but also the appearance of the Demon Clan. The world is in chaos. Remember, do not let your guard down. Be on high alert and tell the blacksmiths to speed up the production of arrows." Mi Zhu's face changed when he heard this. He quickly bowed and replied, "Yes, Lord. Lord, I swear that I will not let any Golden Turbans or the Demon Clan enter Samsara Valley. If they want to enter the valley, they will have to step over my dead body." Mi Zhu knew what the Demon Clan was. It was because of this that he understood why Yi Chen left 300,000 soldiers in Samsara City. The Demon Clan had not only beasts but also birds. There were not many soldiers left. It was impossible to defend Samsara City. Yi Chen looked at the serious Mi Zhu and nodded with satisfaction. Just as he was about to speak, a world announcement sounded. Ding! Luoyuan Town has been captured by the Demon Clan. Luoyuan Town has been removed from the novice zone of the Three Kingdoms. Ding! Luoyuan Town has been captured by the Golden Turbans. Luoyuan Town has been removed from the novice zone of the Three Kingdoms. Chapter 293. Ding! Heavenly Eagle Town has been attacked and occupied by the demon race. Heavenly Eagle Town's name has been removed from the Three Kingdoms Beginners region. Ding! Soaring Phoenix Town has been captured by Golden Scarf. Soaring Phoenix Town has been removed from the Three Kingdoms Beginners list. A series of world announcements had not stopped since the moment they sounded. The territories of countless players had been occupied. The Golden Turban and the Shifters had all bared their fangs without exception. At this moment, the World Channel went into an uproar. F***CK. Damn, Jean was too awesome. Weren't they farmers? Why was he so strong? Motherfucker, a trashy Golden Scarf soldier can beat 10 of my soldiers. Is there any justice? Is there any law? Mother of **Cur, there are too many demons covering the sky and covering the earth. How the F***CK are we supposed to fight? Don't be afraid, brothers. Hurry up and join the Peace Road and become a Gold Scarf Thief. Haha, there are many benefits to joining the Gold Scarf Thieves. I'm already a lord of a town. His 3,000 subordinates are all Golden Scarf elite soldiers. F***CKU. I've already chosen my faction. How the F***CK are we going to get through? If I had known earlier, I would have chosen Gold Scarf from the start. Mother of **Cur, is there anyone who wants to join forces? There are too many demonic beasts, and they're too strong. We can't win it all. If we don't join forces, we'll all die. That's right. Everyone, let's work together. Otherwise, we'll be killed again and again. Our levels will drop, and we won't be able to deal with the shifter race. Humans are just my food. Just wait obediently. Grandpa Bear will eat you all one by one. Roar, roar, roar. Oh, ayo. Oh. Black Blind Man continued to dawdle. Your Grandpa Monkey is going to the next place. TSK, TSK. Human brains are so delicious. Grandpa Monkey will eat human brains in the future. You son of a b asterisk tch, what a waste. If you want to eat, you should eat the whole thing. Eating only the brain wouldn't be a waste. Brothers of the human race, let me tell you one thing. The shifters are a moving treasure trove. You'll get a lot of EXP after killing them. It's 10 times more EXP than killing the chieftain of a mountain stronghold. Moreover, these are ferocious beasts. Besides, killing shifters will also drop good items. Don't blame me for not warning you. F*CK. Brothers of the Great Han faction, please form an alliance. Alliance? Let's kill the demons together. F*CK. Brothers of the Gold Scarf Camp, gather together and kill the demons. Let's see if I can become the king of this world. Yichen glanced at the noisy world channel, then looked at the war achievement rankings and the merit rankings. The one with the highest battle merits was 1002. The one with the highest merit was 110. Obviously, there were many Gold Scarf players, but very few shifter players. The time has come. At the thought of this, Yichen looked at Mi Zhu and Kai Yin and said, I'll leave Samsara City to you. Yes. Mi Zhu and Kai Yin bowed in unison as they replied. Yichen nodded, then turned to Dian Xiong, Zhao Yun, Yun Zheng, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun, and barked, Yun Zheng, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, Zhao Meng, heed my order. This general is here. Dian Xiong, Zhao Yun, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng hurriedly got down on one knee and responded loudly. From today onwards, Yin Zheng will be the bandit general, Dian Xiong will be the bandit general, Gao Shun will be the bandit exterminator general, and Zhao Meng will be the guerrilla general. Each of you will lead 100,000 soldiers and follow me to battle. Yi Chan shouted in a deep voice. Yi Chan was already the general of agile cavalry and the governor of Yuzhou. He had the authority to establish a prefecture, so naturally, he could appoint his subordinates to official positions. Of course, Yi Chan couldn't appoint an official position that was too high. He needed Lu Hong's approval to do so. However, Yi Chan had no problem appointing his subordinates to official positions below secondary class rank 6. Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun, Gao Shun, Zhao Meng, and Dian Xiong's eyes widened when they heard this, and they responded in unison. They all had the authority to command troops given by Yi Chan, but they didn't have official positions, so they didn't have official positions. It wasn't a big deal in Samsara City, but outside of Samsara City, no one would acknowledge them. Generals were born for the battlefield and died for the battlefield. The glory of their lives came from the battlefield, and the official position was one of the glories. But now, Yi Chan had given them official positions, and they were all at the 6th rank of the secondary class. How could they not be excited? How could they not be excited? Yi Chan nodded, then looked at Guo Yi and said, Feng Xiao, you are officially the military counselor and chancellor of Samsara City. Follow the army to battle. Yes, my lord. Guo Yi's eyes brightened when he heard this, and then he bowed deeply. Yi Chan nodded, then turned and walked out of the Castellan mansion. Zhao Yun, Guo Yi, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, Gao Shun, Mi Zhu, and Kai Yin followed Yi Chan out of the Castellan mansion. The moment Yi Chan left the Castellan mansion, Zhao Yu, Diao Chan, Kai Mei Mi Zhun, and Huang Wen walked out of the maid's room in the mansion. Looking at Yi Chan leaving, the 5 women said in unison, We wish you a triumphant return. Their voices were so low that only they could hear them. They didn't want to disturb Yi Chan's state of mind when Yi Chan went to battle. Outside Samsara City, banners fluttered in the wind, and long spears were like a forest. The atmosphere was solemn. As soon as Yi Chan appeared, there was a swoosh sound. 710,000 soldiers of Samsara City knelt down on one knee in unison. Greetings, my lord. 710,000 soldiers shouted in unison. Their voices shook the sky and resounded through the entire Samsara Valley. Yi Chen nodded, and then he shouted, "Today, we are going to fight against the Golden Turban rebels and the demon clan who have wreaked havoc and killed humans. Are you confident? Kill, kill, kill." 710,000 soldiers raised their spears and roared in unison. At this moment, everyone in Samsara City knew that the Golden Turban rebels and the demon clan had appeared in the world. As soldiers of Samsara City, they naturally knew their responsibilities. Not only did they have to guard Samsara City, but they also had to follow Yi Chen to the battlefield and create their own glory. No one was afraid or worried. Even if the legendary demon clan had appeared in this world, they were still full of confidence. Because the one leading them was their lord, the general of agile cavalry of the Great Han Empire, the governor of Yuzhou, Yi Chen. Yi Chen looked at the high-spirited soldiers of Samsara City and nodded with satisfaction. Then he looked at Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun and shouted, "Go out of the valley. Meet the enemy." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun bowed in unison. Then they each led 100,000 soldiers to the entrance of the Samsara Valley. For a moment, the light of diamonds shone continuously. At this moment, all the soldiers of Samsara City had changed into diamond-grade equipment. This was all thanks to Mi Zhu. Without Mi Zhu's help, they would not have been able to complete the diamond-grade equipment so quickly. They had far exceeded the 100,000 sets that Yi Chen had ordered and reached 710,000 sets. Yi Chen looked at the soldiers of Samsara City in diamond-grade equipment and raised his eyebrows. Diamond-grade. The Golden Turban and Demon Clan would probably cry when they saw the soldiers of Samsara City. Chapter 294. It was a set of 3 pieces of diamond equipment, and it was given to the 710,000 soldiers of Samsara City. Even the imperial guards of the Great Han Empire were not so extravagant, let alone the gold scarves. The soldiers of Samsara City were destined to be a group of monsters with strong defense and strong attack power. Not to mention, the soldiers of Samsara City were all at least level A. There were also 100,000 soldiers who had learned king-level techniques and 10,000 Samsara Legion who had learned emperor-level techniques. Once the information of the soldiers of Samsara City was spread out, everyone would be dumbfounded. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, a thunderous neigh was heard. "Nay!" A golden figure came to Yi Chen's side in an instant. Yi Chen looked at the golden Pegasus, little gold, and smiled. Then he mounted the horse. The soldiers of the Samsara Legion waved their right hands at the sight of this. Bang! 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 A series of heavy objects fell to the ground. 10,000 gigantic rhinoceroses suddenly appeared on the ground. They were savage beasts, the best of the best. Today, they would follow the Samsara Legion and Yi Chen to the battlefield as mounts. The moment the rhinoceroses appeared, the soldiers of the Samsara Legion mounted them and waited for Yi Chen's orders. Time passed. When Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng each led 100,000 soldiers out of Samsara Valley, Yi Chen waved his right hand and shouted, "Let's go." "Yes, my lord." The Samsara Legion responded in unison and followed Yi Chen to the exit of the valley. At the entrance of Samsara Valley, under the city wall, the moment Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng each led 100,000 soldiers out of the city gate, the Golden Scarf Army outside the city opened their mouths wide and stared at the soldiers of Samsara City, dumbfounded. There, diamonds shone brightly and connected into a dazzling field. What kind of equipment is this?" A centurion of the Golden Scarf Army shouted in a daze. "Isn't this the territory of a mutant? Why are there so many soldiers wearing diamond equipment? Damn it, I'm wearing silver equipment. Is there any justice?" One of the Kiliarchs of the Golden Scarf Army recognized the equipment of the Samsara City soldiers and roared with a flushed face. "Damn it, it's diamond equipment. Our weapons can't break through their defense." A Chiliarch of the Golden Scarf Army shouted angrily. The leaders of the Golden Scarf Army spoke one after another about the unusualness of the soldiers in Samsara City. Their words revealed their lack of confidence, anger, and gradually, worry. The soldiers of Samsara City of Samsara Valley became more and more uneasy. They looked at the soldiers of Samsara City were dazzling. They lowered their heads and looked at their own equipment. Their clothes were ragged, and they didn't even have decent cloth armor. Some of them even had rakes and manure forks. The visual impact strongly stimulated their nerves. The soldiers of Golden Scarf Army felt inferior and weak. They didn't dare to fight. This feeling was getting stronger and stronger. There were more and more soldiers of Samsara City, and they were all wearing diamond equipment. No matter how they fought, they couldn't break through their defense. They were afraid before the battle started. Then they started to panic. "All of you shut up." Zhou waved the long spear in his hand and roared with an ashen face. He was also shocked when he saw the equipment of the soldiers of Samsara City. He would never have thought that a mutant's territory would not only have a strong army, but also have ridiculously good equipment. However, when he came back to his senses, his subordinates had already started to shout. This was a battlefield. Shouting like this would affect the morale of the soldiers. However, he was still too late. The soldiers were already agitated, and now they were even more agitated. Their high morale started to drop. They couldn't control it, even if they wanted to. Time passed slowly. When Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, Zhao Meng, and Gao Shun each led 100,000 soldiers out of Samsara Valley, Zhou Cong's face changed again. 400,000. 400,000 soldiers. How could a mutant have so many soldiers? Zhou Cong said in shock. Speaking of this, a person's name involuntarily appeared in Zhou Cong's mind. Could it be the Great Han Empire's Yuzhou governor, Marquis Champion, General of Agile Cavalry, Yi Chun? At the thought of this, Zhou Cong's pupils shrank. It must be him. A mutant couldn't have so many soldiers. If he did, it would be a rebellion. That fatuous emperor wouldn't let anyone who dared to rebel. General Heaven Duke, this is wrong with the teleportation talisman. Why did Simi here? I just wanted to bring 1 million more soldiers. When Zhou Cong thought of this, his face was filled with bitterness. He didn't expect that the mutant territory he was attacking was Yi Chen's Samsara City. How could Zhou Cong not know who Yi Chen was? Yi Chen's name had spread throughout the Great Han Empire. Everyone knew who he was. He broke through Ping City in 2 hours and flattened Wuhuan in 1 day. He was the #1 general in the Great Han Empire. When Zhou Zong thought of this, he looked at the entrance of the Reincarnation Valley and the majestic city wall. Then he looked at the 400,000 Reincarnation City soldiers below the city wall. The corners of his mouth twitched involuntarily. He had thought that he could destroy a mutant with a wave of his hand. Even if he built such a tall city wall, it wouldn't be able to stop his 1,000,000 soldiers. However, at this moment, Zhou Cong felt like a mute who had eaten Chinese gold thread. He couldn't speak of the bitterness in his heart. He couldn't say that he was the general of the Golden Scarf Army, the commander of 1,000,000 golden scarves. One of the Kiliarchs suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, "General, I know who this strange being is." "Shut up," Zhou Cong hurriedly shouted. Zhou Cong didn't want the Chiliarch to shout out the name in his heart. If he did, the soldiers' morale would plummet. However, Zhou Cong had miscalculated. While the captain was stunned, the other captain cried out in horror, "You're a 1,000-man commander. It's the Great Han Empire's Yuzhou governor, General of Agile Cavalry, Marquis Champion Yi Chun. It must be him. Only he can lead so many soldiers." The Golden Scarf Army was in an uproar. I was wondering why these soldiers were so well equipped. So they're Yi Chen's soldiers. What should we do? The Marquis Champion is the #1 general of the Great Han Empire. His bravery is unparalleled. Why did Virtuous Teacher send us here? Didn't he say that he would send elites to deal with Marquis Yi Chun? I don't want to die. Look at the Marquis Champion soldiers. Their equipment is ridiculously good. Our weapons can't even break through their defenses. How can we fight them? Why don't we run? Chapter 295. The soldiers of the Golden Scarf Army discussed among themselves. The atmosphere of nervousness and panic grew stronger and stronger. After seeing the equipment of the soldiers of Samsara City, they lost the will to fight. Now that they knew that they were going to attack Marquis Yi Chun, the champion of the Great Han Empire, their morale hit rock bottom. A chilly arch of the Golden Scarf Army glanced at the murderous soldiers of Samsara City, then looked at Zhou Tsang and said with fear, "General, we should retreat. I heard that Yi Chun, the general of agile cavalry, is invincible. He is a peerless general of the Great Han Empire. We can't defeat him." Hearing this, Zhou Tsang's face changed. He then shouted, "Shut up! I will skin you alive if you give up before the battle." He was a general of the Golden Scarf Army. If he ran away before the battle, how could he face the virtuous sage Zhang Jiao and command millions of golden scarves? Rumble! Suddenly, there was a loud sound that sounded like thunder. In the next second, a golden Pegasus suddenly jumped out of the city gate. On the Pegasus was a handsome man in a luxurious robe. His long hair fluttered in the wind. He was about 20 years old. His face was resolute, and his aura was powerful and domineering. Yi Chun, Marquis Champion. Zhou Tsang recognized Yi Chun the moment he saw the man. Because of Yi Chun's age, Yi Chun's aura, and Yi Chun's unique Pegasus mount. At this moment, the Samsara army rushed out of the city gate on savage rhinos. Savage and ferocious auras rushed toward the Golden Scarf Army. This was only the aura released by the savage rhinos. Without exception, the soldiers of the Samsara Legion on the savage rhinoceros all had grave and stern expressions, their gazes as sharp as knives. They were the members of the Samsara army trained by Yi Chun. Every one of them was a king-level general and had imperial-level techniques. They were proud, confident, cold, and ruthless. Anyone who went against Yi Chun was an enemy. They would only choose one way to deal with their enemies, and that was to kill them all. At this moment, Zhou Tsang saw the incomparably enormous savage rhinoceros beneath the Samsara Corps soldiers. His pupils abruptly shrank, and then he cried out in alarm, "Savage rhinos! They are savage rhinos! Why? Why can a wild rhinoceros be captured as a mount?" Obviously, Zhou Tsang knew what savage rhinos were. Because of this, he was shocked. Achillearch panicked when he saw the Samsara army. He hurriedly looked at Zhou Tsang and shouted, "Zhou Tsang, General, give the order. We can't fight this war." "That's right, General. We can't hesitate any longer. The Marquis Champion is not someone we can deal with. General, give the order." Savage rhinos is savage rhinos is savage rhinos is armored savage rhinos is armored rhinos. The Chiliarchs and Centurions of the Golden Scarf Army were all terrified. This was because the aura of the Samsara Legion soldiers was enough to suppress the Chiliarchs and Centurions. Furthermore, the rhinoceroses they were riding scared the Chiliarchs and Centurions quite a bit. The rhinoceroses had tough skin and flesh to begin with. Their weapons could not even break through their defense. However, Samsara City had equipped the rhinoceroses with diamond-grade armor. There was no way they could fight them. "Shut up!" Zhou Tsang was furious when he saw the panicked faces of his subordinates. He shouted with a livid face, "Nay!" A thunderous roar sounded in an instant. The golden Pegasus, Little Gold, leaped up and stomped heavily on the ground. At this instant, the expression of Zhou Tsang, who was just about to shout, changed. The few hundred warhorses of the Golden Scarf Army, including the warhorse that Zhou Zong was riding, were all frightened. Then, with put-on sounds, they all knelt on the ground. All the leaders of the Golden Scarf Army, riding on their warhorses, fell to the ground without exception. At this moment, Zhou Tsang suddenly leapt up and landed on the ground. Zhou Tsang's face alternated between red and blue when he saw the warhorses kneeling on the ground. The battle hadn't even started yet, but Yi Chun's horse shouted and the warhorses all fell to their knees. This was a slap in the face. It was simply a slap in the face. Yi Chun looked at the leaders of the Golden Scarf Army and curled his lips in disdain. He then looked at Zhou Tsang and shouted, "Zhou Tsang, are you willing to submit to me?" Zhou Tsang was stunned when he heard this. Before he looked at Yi Chun, He didn't expect Yi Chun to ask him if he wanted to surrender as soon as they met. A second later, Zhou Tsang shouted without hesitation, "I am a general under the virtuous master. How can I surrender?" Yi Chun narrowed his eyes and shouted, "For his own selfish reasons, Zhang Jiao coerced the people of the world to fight for the throne. Don't tell me you don't understand the logic behind it." When Zhou Tsang heard this, his expression immediately changed. He then shouted in a deep voice, "Lu Hong is muddle-headed and incompetent. The common people have no way of making a living. People eat each other. Champion Marquis, don't you think Lu Hong deserves to die?" When Yi Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows. Zhou Tsang's words were clear. He knew Zhang Jiao's true goal, but he still chose to follow Zhang Jiao in order to kill Lu Hong. Zhou Tsang wasn't wrong. Lu Hong deserved to die. However, the burly man was still alive. A rebel was a rebel. Yi Chun was the great Han Empire's general of swift cavalry and the governor of Yuzhou. How could he say that Lu Hong deserved to die? It seemed that Zhou Tsang could be subdued. When he thought of this, Yi Chun pointed at Zhou Tsang and shouted, "Yin Zheng, capture the next thief." Zhao Yun's eyes widened when he heard this. He bowed and replied loudly, "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun clamped his legs on the horse's belly. The Jade Knight lion instantly reared up and charged at Zhou Tsang. When Zhou Tsang saw Zhao Yunzheng rushing over on a white horse, his eyes suddenly widened. Then he shouted, "Good timing." After he finished speaking, he forcefully pulled up the kneeling warhorse and mounted it. However, Zhou Tsang found that the horse was very disobedient. His expression changed, and he stabbed the horses, but with his spear without hesitation. Stimulated by the pain, the warhorse immediately let out a neigh and charged at Zhao Yunzheng. This was a battle between generals. Zhou Tsang couldn't refuse. If he refused, the morale of the Golden Scarf Army would drop. "Kill." At the instant Zhao Yun made contact, his eyes abruptly widened as he shouted explosively. Following Zhao Yun's shout, the silver spear of dragons bile stabbed out. Zhou Tsang's eyes widened in anger, and he roared, "Kill." At this moment, the long spear in his hand stabbed toward Zhao Yunzheng. Chapter 296. Clang! A loud sound was heard. Zhao Yun's silver spear of dragon's bile collided with Zhou Tsang's spear. Then, the two of them exchanged positions. "Nay! Nay!" The war horses neighed. They turned around slowly and faced each other again. Zhao Yun's expression remained the same, but Zhou Tsang frowned. Zhao Yun was young and looked like a young general who had just entered the battlefield. Zhou Tsang originally thought that no matter how strong Zhao Yun was, he could not be much stronger than him. However, what Zhou Tsang did not expect was that with just a single move, he would feel the threat from Zhao Yunzheng. Furthermore, it was an intense sense of danger. That threat made Zhou Tsang very unhappy, but it lingered in his heart and could not be dispelled. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun and Zhou Tsang on the battlefield and raised his eyebrows. Zhao Yun was a super-class historical general, while Zhou Tsang was only a second-class general. Facing Zhao Yun, it would be strange if Zhou Tsang did not feel pressured. It was good to suppress Zhou Tsang's pride. It would be easier to subdue him this way. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's lips curled up. At this moment, Zhao Yun's legs squeezed the horse's belly, and he charged at Zhou Tsang again with the bile of dragon's bile. When Zhou Tsang saw this, his right hand that was holding the spear tightened. Then he shouted, "Kill." After Zhou Tsang shouted, his legs squeezed the horse's belly, and he charged at Zhao Yun. He was a golden scarf general. He could not retreat. He could only fight. Even if Zhao Yun gave him an extremely dangerous feeling, he could not retreat. Even if he died, he could not retreat. Tut, 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 the war horses galloped. After 2 breaths, the 2 war horses met again. Zhao Yun, who was on the war horse, suddenly opened his eyes and stabbed out with the bile of dragon's bile in his right hand. This time, it was different from the previous ones. The seemingly ordinary spear was extremely fast. With a flash of silver, the tip of the spear was in front of Zhou Tsang. Zhou Tsang, who had just raised his spear, suddenly narrowed his eyes. At this moment, Zhou Tsang felt the arrival of death. His body instantly froze. He wanted to brandish his weapon to block or even dodge. However, the cruel reality told Zhou Tsang that it was too late. My life is over. As soon as Zhou Tsang thought of this, a poochie sound was heard. Zhao Yun's spear instantly pierced through the armor on Zhou Tsang's shoulder. Then, he lifted Zhou Tsang up and threw him to the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Zhou Tsang fell heavily to the ground. Long live the general. 10,000 victories. 10,000 victories. An earth-shattering roar instantly came out from the mouths of the 100,000 white horse righteous warriors. As for the Golden Scarf army in the distance, their faces instantly fell. As far as they knew, their general Zhou Tsang was extremely powerful. No one could defeat Zhou Tsang. However, at this moment, Zhou Tsang, who they thought was very powerful, had been defeated in 2 rounds. How could they attack Samsara City? In the blink of an eye, the already low morale of the Golden Scarf army once again fell to the bottom. Fuck, we can't wait any longer. Retreat. Zhou Tsang's deputy looked at the soldiers in the distance, then at Zhao Yun standing proudly at the border of the 2 armies, and said with a ferocious expression, "But General Zhou Tsang is still there. Are we not going to save him?" A Golden Scarf 1,000-man commander hesitated for a moment before asking, "Didn't you hear?" When a marquee champion insulted the virtuous paragon, Zhou Tsang didn't even curse back. He is a traitor, so why should we risk our lives to save him? Zhou Tsang's deputy coldly shouted after hearing this. Deputy General is right. Zhou Tsang is a traitor. We need to leave this place quickly. This marquee champion is not someone we can deal with. He can just send out one of his subordinates and take down Zhou Tsang. None of US can deal with a marquee champion. A gold scarf spy nodded in agreement. Yes, let's retreat. If Zhou Tsang is dead, then so be it. We have a deputy to lead us. What deputy? This is our general. Yes, general. Greetings, general. One by one, the Kiliarchs of the Golden Scarf army pushed Zhou Zhang's deputy to Zhou Zhang's position. Zhou Tsang's deputy saw this, and his eyes flashed. He nodded and said in a deep voice, "Pass down the order. The army will retreat and rendezvous with Yozhou's Commander Huang and Commander Long." Yes, General. General. The Golden Scarf Army's Kiliarchs bowed in unison and then ran to pass on Deputy General Zhou Tsang's orders. They didn't want to stay here a moment longer. If it wasn't for Zhou Tsang's refusal to retreat, they would have already left. Now that the deputy had replaced Zhou Tsang, they could retreat justifiably without worrying about being punished. In any case, if something happened, the deputy would take care of it. They had nothing to fear. As for what the deputy was thinking, how could these 1,000-man commanders not know? He wanted to take Zhou Tsang's place. In normal times, this would be impossible. But now is not normal times. Their lives were at stake, so they had to escape justifiably. Thus, Zhou Tsang's deputy easily replaced Zhou Tsang's position. As for the blame for running away, it was undoubtedly Zhou Tsang's fault. It was Zhou Zhang's fault. When Yichun mocked virtuous paragon Zhang Jiao, Zhou Zhang didn't retort. At this time, Zhou Tsang opened his eyes and shook his dazed head. After coming back to his senses, Zhou Tsang hastily looked at Zhao Yun. In the next second, Zhou Tsang fell silent. Zhao Yunjing's attack just now was completely capable of killing him. However, Zhao Yunjing had shown mercy and only knocked him off his horse. An ordinary person would have immediately jumped up to counterattack or run away, but Zhou Tsang was not an ordinary person. He would not do such a thing. He could not afford to lose face. He had his own pride. After a moment of silence, Zhou Tsang took out the saber at his waist and unhesitatingly slashed at his neck. At this time, a golden light, accompanied by 10 afterimages, arrived in the blink of an eye. In the next second, a pitch-black spear stabbed out. A dang sound was heard. Zhou Tsang's saber instantly turned into dust. Zhou Tsang glanced at Yichun, who had suddenly appeared beside him, and his face immediately darkened. He then shouted, "Champion Marquis, I respect you as a hero. Why did you stop me from committing suicide?" Zhou Tsang, You have already died once. Do you admit it? Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and shouted. Zhou was stunned when he heard this. He then nodded heavily and said, "That's right. I can be considered to have died once. The only reason I was able to survive was because this white-robed general showed mercy. Otherwise, I would have died without a doubt. Zhou, I'll ask you one more time. Are you willing to follow me?" When Yi Chen heard this, he immediately smiled and asked. Chapter 297. Zhou was taken aback when he heard this. He had not expected Yi Chen to try to recruit him. After a moment of silence, Zhou looked at Yi Chen and asked in a low voice, "Champion Marquis, I am a rebel. Are you not afraid of being punished by Lu Hong because of me?" Yi Chen laughed and said, "I do not care about the past of those who follow me. As long as they are willing to follow me and be loyal to me, I will accept them without hesitation." Zhou was taken aback when he heard this, and then his eyes widened. Yi Chen did not say it explicitly, but how could Zhou not understand the hidden meaning in Yi Chen's words? Yi Chen did not care about Lu Hong at all. Moreover, Yi Chen did not show any displeasure when Zhou called out Lu Hong's name. He did not even frown, which was more than enough to prove this point. Zhou fell silent when he thought of this. He did not want to betray Zhang Jiao. This went against his principles. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and shouted, "For his own personal gain, Zhang Jiao has chosen to rebel. Zhang Jiao enticed the people to participate in the rebellion for his own personal gain. Have you thought about how many people will die in this rebellion?" Zhou was stunned when he heard this. Yi Chen glanced at Zhou and said in a low voice, "Let me tell you, tens of millions of people will die in this war. Moreover, with the demon race wreaking havoc in the world, even more people will die. Zhou, is this the result you want to see?" Zhou broke out in a cold sweat when he heard this. He had never thought of this situation. Now that Yi Chen had spoken, how could Zhou remain calm? Zhou felt unwell when he thought of the corpses of the people strewn all over the Great Han Dynasty. And all of this would happen because Zhang Jiao wanted to rebel and become the emperor. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but nothing came out. After a few breaths, Zhou let out a long breath. He then knelt on one knee and said respectfully, "Zhou, willing to renounce the darkness for the light, pleads the Lord to take me in. Ding. Second-rate historical general Zhou wishes to acknowledge you as his master. Do you accept?" When Yi Chen heard the system notification, he raised his eyebrows and made his choice without hesitation. Accept. If Yi Chen wanted to subdue Zhou, he naturally wouldn't refuse. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of the second-rate historical general, Zhou. Hearing this, Yi Chen immediately smiled. He dismounted from his horse and helped Zhou up. "Zhou, from now on, you will be one of the generals of Samsara City. Are you willing to stay and guard Samsara City?" When Zhou heard this, he was stunned. He did not expect that after Yi Chen took him in, he would not ask him to go with him to fight Zhang Jiao. It was obvious that Yi Chen was thinking for him and did not want to make things difficult for him. When he thought of this, Zhou felt warmth in his heart. He then bowed without hesitation and said, "My lord, I am willing to stay in Samsara town and guard it. I swear that I will guard Samsara town with my life. I will never let any enemy step into Samsara town. If I violate this oath, I will be destroyed by the heavens." Ding! Zhou loyalty plus 10, upgraded to loyal. When Yi Chen heard this, he smiled and patted Zhou shoulder. He said, "Very good, I believe you." Yi Chen did not worry that Zhou would rebel again when he accepted him and let him stay in Samsara City. Because Zhou had no military power at all, the person in charge of Samsara City was Mi Zhu, a first-rate historical general. If Zhou dared to rebel, he would only have one ending, death. Of course, Zhou would not deliberately surrender and then rebel against Yi Chen. This was because Zhou was inherently loyal. Otherwise, he wouldn't have directly committed suicide after being defeated by Zhao Yunzheng. But now, Zhou was persuaded by Yi Chen and chose to follow Yi Chen. If he encountered enemies again, he would definitely fight to the death. No matter if it was the Golden Turban or the Demon Clan, Jotsong would do his best to guard Samsara City. Even if Jotsong was defeated again, Jotsong would not choose to surrender and rebel against Yichun. This would not have happened before Jotsong was loyal to Yichun. Now that he was loyal to Yichun, it would not have happened. At this moment, a world announcement suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yichun for being the first to obtain the loyalty of a second-rate historical general, Jotsong. Because of his special status, player Yichun is rewarded with 10 million taels of gold. The world announcement was repeated 3 times in a row, which instantly caused an uproar in the world channel. Damn! Yichun has made his move. Damn it! He took Jotsong in as soon as he appeared. Who else is he going to take in after this? Damn it! Why don't the idiots of the Demon Clan go and cause trouble for Yichun? How would the idiots of the Demon Clan dare to cause trouble for Yichun? Yichun is the most powerful man in the human clan. If they cause trouble for Yichun, wouldn't they be giving Yichun benefits? Where is Yichun's territory? Tell Grandpa Nyo. Grandpa Nyo will go and meet the most powerful man in the human clan. Roar, roar, roar. Kill Yichun, eat him, and flatten Yichun's territory. Roar, roar, or don't make so much noise. You're embarrassing the Demon Clan. Can't you see that this is the instigation of a human clan? Don't bother with this trash. Hurry up and eat more people. Only when you become stronger can you kill Yichun. The world channel was very lively. Yichun glanced at it and then smiled coldly. A bunch of trash. Even now, they're still hoping that I'll be attacked by the Demon Clan. Yichun was just thinking about this when he heard a loud shout. Heaven is dead. A yellow sky will rise. In 60 years, the world will prosper. Following this shout, the originally listless Golden Scarf army instantly became excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Their eyes widened in excitement as their bodies trembled nonstop. As they trembled, they shouted at the top of their lungs. Heaven is dead. A yellow sky will rise. In 60 years, the world will prosper. Yichun frowned and then looked at the crazed Golden Scarf army soldiers. He narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice, "This is Zhang Xian's trick. This is Zhang Jiao's method of bewitching people. As long as Zhang Jiao doesn't die, these people will never wake up." Jotsong's eyes were filled with regret when he heard this. He was not regretting Yichun, but regretting his previous choice. He had joined the path of peace later and followed Zhang Xian, so he had not been deeply affected. Now that he was following Yichun and looking at the Golden Scarf army from another angle, he noticed something unusual. The 1 million Golden Scarf army soldiers were not motivated at all. They were a bunch of brainwashed lunatics, complete lunatics. They had been silent a moment ago, but when they heard the slogan, they were like madmen who had been injected with chicken blood. They were fearless. Yichun glanced at Jotsong and raised his eyebrows. He then mounted his horse and waved his right hand. The Godslayer appeared instantly and pointed at the Golden Scarf army soldiers. At this moment, the 1 million Golden Scarf army soldiers turned around and ran for their lives. F*CK. What's going on? Are they running away? Chapter 298. As Yichun saw, the soldiers of the Golden Scarf army ran away with high morale after shouting the slogan so loudly. Jotsong glanced at the 1 million Golden Scarf army soldiers that were running wildly. He narrowed his eyes and bowed to Yichun. "My lord, the Deputy General of the Golden Scarf army intended to replace me. Now that I'm your follower, he can replace me and become the leading general." He shouted the slogan to raise morale and speed up the march, so that he can meet up with Huang and Long of the Golden Scarf army in Yuzhou and minimize the loss. But this order is really incomprehensible. How can infantry outrun cavalry? When Yichun heard this, he raised his eyebrows and said, "This man's talent can shock heaven and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. But what you said is wrong. I'm afraid that he replaced you before you chose to follow me. Otherwise, the Golden Scarf army would not have reacted so quickly." Jotsong's face suddenly changed. He angrily looked at the Golden Scarf army and shouted, Shameless. Shameless. Zhou Tsang was exposed by Yi Chun. How could he not know what his deputy general had done? Before he committed suicide, the deputy general had replaced him. The deputy general had used him as an excuse to call him a traitor and replace him. Otherwise, he would not have mobilized the Golden Scarf Army to escape the Samsara forest so quickly. However, at that time, Zhou Tsang did not intend to surrender to Yi Chun. He only wanted to die and not be a traitor. Thinking of this, Zhou Tsang felt terrible, especially when he thought that no one came to help him after he fell off the horse. Zhou Tsang was sure of this fact. Yi Chun looked at the angry Zhou Tsang and sighed inwardly. Then he said in a low voice, "Zhou Tsang, you've left the Golden Scarf Army. Don't think about the past. Guard the Samsara city with peace of mind. This traitor must die." "Yes, my lord. My lord." Zhou Tsang tried his best to calm his anger before bowing in response. At this moment, Zhou Tsang's emotions were filled with anger and joy. She was angry because she had been slandered and framed, but she was glad that she had chosen to follow Yi Chun. Yi Chun looked at Zhou Tsang's solemn expression and nodded in satisfaction. He pointed his godslayer at the fleeing 1,000,000 gold scars and shouted, "All troops attack! Kill!" Zhao Yun's eyes widened when he heard this. He waved the silver spear of dragon's bile and shouted. Zhao Yun shouted and charged towards the 1,000,000-strong Golden Scarf Army. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The 100,000 white horses roared in unison and galloped forward, instantly activating their charging mode. Rumble. 100,000 white horses galloped forward in an instant. The sound of iron hooves stomping on the ground also rang out at this moment. "Kill!" When Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng saw that Zhao Yun was leading the charge, they hastily raised their weapons and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The 300,000 soldiers of Samsara City raised their well-tempered steel and spears and roared at the top of their lungs. Their violent killing intent instantly soared. Rumble, rumble. The earth began to tremble as the earth began to shake. The 300,000 Samsara City soldiers followed Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng as they charged towards the fleeing Golden Scarf Army. As the 400,000 soldiers charged, the diamond light continued to shine. However, this shining diamond light contained a strong killing intent. It was cold and ruthless. Not long after, Zhao Yun was the first to catch up to the Golden Scarf Army soldiers. The silver spear of dragon's bile in his hand stabbed out mercilessly. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. In an instant, dozens of people were killed by Zhao Yunzheng. However, Zhao Yunzheng did not stop at all. He continued to gallop forward, and soon, he had cut a hole in the Golden Scarf Army. None of the Golden Scarf Army soldiers who were caught by Zhao Yun were able to dodge Zhao Yun's spear. Without exception, they were all stabbed to death. After a few breaths, Bai Ma Yi had caught up to the fleeing Golden Scarf Army soldiers and stabbed out mercilessly with his spear. Groups of crazed Golden Scarf Army soldiers were stabbed to death in an instant. The white horse Yi Tsong continued to charge forward. One strike after another, he did not stop. A large number of Golden Scarf Army soldiers were stabbed to death, and some were even sent flying. Wherever Bai Ma Yi passed, he left behind a ground full of corpses and a few Golden Scarf Army soldiers. Rumble. Dian Xiong, Gao Shun, and Zhao Meng arrived with their troops. Seeing the remaining Golden Scarf Army soldiers killed by Bai Ma Yi, the corners of their mouths involuntarily twitched. Yin Zheng is really something. Why didn't he leave us some? Zhao Meng said with a conflicted expression. All right, let's kill them. It's better than nothing. Gao Shun couldn't help but smile when he heard this. Bai Ma Yi is indeed a special force. After Dian Xiong finished speaking, he pressed his feet against the savage rhinoceros king's stomach. The savage rhinoceros king, which was running wildly, instantly changed directions and charged towards the few remaining Golden Scarf Army soldiers on the left. At this moment, Gao Shun, who was galloping on his horse, suddenly changed directions and rushed to the right. Seeing this, Zhao Meng's mouth involuntarily twitched. Zhao Yun was eating meat, while Dian Xiong and Gao Shun drank some soup. Zhao Meng could only pick up the leftovers. Zhao Meng's mood was very gloomy. Unfortunately, Zhao Meng was in between the two of them. His 100,000 soldiers were also in the middle. It was very difficult for him to change directions. Unless Zhao Meng purposely disrupted Dian Xiong or Gao Shun's formation, then he would be able to drink some soup. Zhao Meng naturally knew this, but he did not do it. Instead, he did not hesitate to throw this idea out of his mind. He was now a UG general, the commander of 100,000 reincarnation city soldiers. He could not affect his comrades for the sake of military exploits. That was not what a qualified general should do. Moreover, if he did that, it was very likely that the pursuit would fail and many Golden Scarf Army soldiers would escape. It might even cause casualties. More importantly, it would leave a bad impression on Yichun. Zhao Meng wanted military merits, but what he wanted more was Yichun's approval. He didn't want to act recklessly for the sake of military merits. Yichun looked at Zhao Meng on the battlefield and could not help but smile. Not bad, not bad. He had become much calmer. The Golden Scarf Army was at the front. A chilly arch of the Golden Scarf Army on a warhorse looked at the charging by Ma Yi-tsong behind him. He then looked at the deputy general who had just replaced Zhou Tsong with a ferocious expression and shouted angrily, "Trash! I knew you didn't have the ability. Why would I believe you and recommend you to be the general of the army? UF*Ker, take a look. What's the use of your bullsh*T orders? Can 2 legs outrun 4 legs? Idiot Zhang, are you trying to rebel?" The deputy general roared in anger when he heard this. Idiot Zhang did not hesitate to point at the deputy general and curse. "Rebel? Wang Matzi, who do you think you are? You're just a piece of trash. Don't think that I don't know your background. You used to be a scoundrel, but you still want to be an official? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? With your skills, you still want to be a general? Be your second uncle." Idiot Zhang, damn it, do you want to die? Wang Matzi was furious. He pulled out the long sword at his waist and pointed at Idiot Zhang, roaring with a ferocious expression. F***CK off. Brothers, we can't listen to this idiot's orders. Quickly pass down the order. Tell the soldiers to drink the talisman water and turn back to block the marquee champion's troops. Otherwise, we're all done for. Idiot Zhang pointed a spear at the deputy general and shouted. Chapter 299. The other Kiliarchs looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Then they said in unison, "Okay." Golden Turban Vice General Wang Matzi was furious when he saw this. Then he shouted, "All of you deserve to die for disobeying your superiors. All of you deserve to die." At this moment, he realized how foolish his order was. However, he would not admit it. Even if he changed the order, he would be the one to change it, not his subordinates. He could not tolerate his subordinates' disregard. He was a general, the general of the Golden Scarf Army. Even if he had just usurped the throne and the Golden Scarf Army had less than 1,000,000 men, he was still a supreme general. His subordinates' disregard greatly irritated him. At this time, a long spear suddenly pierced through pockmarked Wang's heart. "Idiot Zhang, you actually dared to kill me." Wang Matzi looked down at the spear that pierced his heart and then looked at Idiot Zhang in disbelief. "You are a traitor who caused my brothers to die in vain. Why can't I kill you?" Idiot Zhang sneered. You will die a horrible death. You will die a horrible death." Wang Matzi's eyes suddenly widened, and then he roared angrily. After he finished speaking, his eyes widened in anger, and then he stopped breathing. "Quick, pass the order." Idiot Zhang pulled back his spear and looked at Wang Matzi's corpse. He then looked at the shocked Kiliarchs and shouted. The Kiliarchs looked at each other and nodded. Then they ran to pass the order. Not long after, the soldiers of the Golden Scarf Army cheered loudly. General's order. Drink the talisman water. When the Golden Scarf Army soldiers heard this, their eyes lit up with excitement and craziness. As they shouted orders, they took out a bamboo tube from their bosoms and unhesitatingly took off the stopper and drank it. Zhao Yun, who was galloping on his horse, frowned after killing a Golden Scarf Army soldier who had just drunk the talisman water. This was because Zhao Yunzheng felt some resistance from the silver spear dragon bile. Although it was weak, it was real. At this moment, the remaining soldiers of the Golden Scarf army glowed with red light. Their faces were flushed with excitement. Heaven is dead, the yellow sky shall rise. The world shall prosper in the 60-year cycle. The Golden Scarf army soldiers shouted crazily. For the virtuous master, we shall kill the traitors. Kill! A loud shout came from the middle of the Golden Scarf army. Hearing this, the Golden Scarf army soldiers became excited. They turned around without hesitation and rushed toward Zhao Yun, Dian Xiong, and Gao Shan. Come back. Damn it. You can't go. A chilly arch of the Golden Scarf army shouted when he saw the soldiers of the Golden Scarf army charging towards the army of Samsara City. Go back. Go back. You don't have to go. Another Golden Scarf 1,000-man commander roared furiously. What's going on? Why aren't they listening to our orders? A Chiliarch shouted in disbelief. Damn it! What's wrong with them? The Chiliarchs shouted in shock, but no one told them the answer. At this moment, all the Golden Scarf army soldiers were glowing with red light. They charged fearlessly toward the Samsara City army. Yichin squinted his eyes when he saw the red light on the battlefield. Zhang Jiao's talisman water. He didn't expect the Golden Scarf army soldiers to have Zhang Jiao's talisman water. Yi Chun sneered at this thought. After drinking Zhang Jiao's talisman water, their defense and attack power would be doubled. They were known as invincible and invincible. Unfortunately, they were all crazy people. If an ordinary player encountered them, they would be helpless. However, Zhou Tsang, who was standing beside Yi Chun, saw the abnormality of the Golden Scarf army soldiers. He quickly bowed and said, "My lord, the Golden Scarf army soldiers have drunk Zhang Jiao's talisman water. Their attack and defense power have been doubled for an hour." Zhou Tsang was stunned when he said this. The Golden Scarf army soldiers who charged at the Samsara City army were all killed on the spot. No matter how crazy and fearless they were, they couldn't stop the Samsara City army's charge. Not only were they unable to stop the attack, but they were also sent flying and stabbed to death by the Samsara City army. The number of corpses on the ground increased. The smell of blood became thicker and stronger. It floated in the air. Gui Yi, who had been watching the battlefield, pointed in the air and a map of the Samsara forest appeared. Gui Yi looked at the Golden Scarf army soldiers charging at the Samsara City army and curled his lips in disdain. He waved his right hand. Flying sand and stones. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew sand and stones toward the Golden Scarf army. The charging Golden Scarf army soldiers couldn't even open their eyes after being hit by the sand and stones. They were already at a disadvantage. This made things worse for them. On the other hand, the Samsara City army was advancing smoothly. The speed of their charge increased, and the speed at which they killed the Golden Scarf army soldiers also increased. Yichin raised his eyebrows when he saw this. He looked at the shocked Zhou Tsang and asked, "Zhou Tsang, how do you feel?" "My lord, the Samsara City army is strong and powerful. It's only a matter of time before we conquer the world." Zhou Tsang heard Yichin's question and came back to his senses. He bowed solemnly. "Protect the Samsara City for me. If there are any enemies, regardless of whether they are from the Golden Scarf army or the Demon Clan, kill them all." Yichin laughed and shouted, "Yes, my lord, I swear that I will not let any enemy enter the Samsara City. If I break this oath, I will be destroyed by the heavens." Zhou Tsang bowed and said without hesitation. Yichin nodded and raised the Godslayer. He shouted, "Let's go." "Yes, sir." The Samsara army shouted in unison and charged forward with Yichun. 10,000 barbaric rhinoceroses followed Yichun and charged forward with a dull roar. At this moment, the world channel suddenly exploded. "Damn, I told you that Yichun is crazy. Did you see that? It hasn't been long since the war achievement ranking was released, and Yichun has taken first place. He has 1,030,000 war achievements. That's 500,000 more than the second place. Damn, it's not 500,000. It's 510,000. Damn, what kind of killing speed is this? Mother asterisk her, it's like harvesting wheat, the kind that's done with a combined harvester. 600,000. Damn. How can it be so fast? Damn. As if he could take first place. Damn. 800,000. Chapter 300. How many soldiers do you think Chen brought out? How did he kill the golden turbans so quickly? Those golden turbans are farmers, but they are all perverts. It's not that easy to kill them. Who knows? Chen has 6 heaven rank recruitment orders, and he has 600,000 soldiers. Chen brought out at least 600,000 soldiers this time, and Chen has Jian Xiong, Zhao Yun, Gui Yi, and Gao Shan. They are all historical generals. How can we compete with him? Why should we compete? We are individual players, and Chen is a lord player. If we want to compete, it should be those lords. However, those lords can't compete with Chen. They don't have an official position, so they can't bring many soldiers. Damn, doesn't this mean that Chen is dominating the war achievement leaderboard? That's not necessarily true. Don't forget, there are so many golden turbans in the Great Han Dynasty. No matter how strong Chen is, he can't meet them all. Besides, they're shifters. I heard that many Lord players have started to team up to farm golden turbans and shifters. They should be faster than Chen. Farm golden turbans? Let me tell you, I am a golden turban. The brothers of the golden turbans have also teamed up. Just watch. Chen will cry when he meets us. You guys too. The Golden Turbans War Achievement Leaderboard is about to surpass the Great Han War Achievement Leaderboard. Hee. I made the right choice in choosing the Golden Turbans. Damn, the Golden Turbans are too strong. They can be used in real life, even in the game. Waha! I am now the mayor with 3,000 subordinates. Are you convinced? If you aren't, I will kill you all. Damn, mayor my ass, we have Chen. What? You can try if you think you're strong, but I won't kill you. Damn. Chen's War Achievement Leaderboard is now at 301 million. Stop wasting time. Whether it's the Golden Turbans or the Great Han Dynasty, think about it first. You are a human, so you should deal with the shifters first. Don't fight among yourselves. F***CK your grandpa. You make it sound so nice. Do you think I'm stupid? If I don't beat you up, Zhang Jiao will immediately label me as a traitor and take everything away. Scums of a human race, you still like infighting. Wash yourselves clean. Just wait and see. Grandpa Rat will eat you all. Creak, creak, creak. Haha, that's right. After eating up the human race, the demon race was the main character of the world. The human race has the war merit ranking and the merit ranking. But so what? The demon race is the strongest. Roar, roar, roar. Just as the human and shifter players were discussing on the World Channel, Chen had already annihilated the invading Golden Turban army. He also cleaned up the battlefield, gathered the corpses, burned them, and buried them. Chen did this to prevent the outbreak of the plague. There were too many corpses, and they were in the reincarnation forest. If they were not dealt with, it would be easy for a plague to spread. Especially in this year of great calamity, it had to be handled with extreme caution. One had to know that this was Chen's territory, so it was best to be careful. Chen glanced at the World Channel, which was still flooding the screen, and curled his lips in disdain. Then he shouted, "Advance to Yangla County." Yes, Lord. 410,000 reincarnation soldiers replied in unison before following Chen toward Yangla County. When the Golden Turban Rebellion broke out, the Golden Turban Army would appear all over the Great Han Dynasty. It was like a swarm of locusts passing through. Those who resisted would be killed, and those who resisted would be forced to join the Golden Turban Army and continue to attack cities. Yuzhou was no exception. At this moment, 500,000 Golden Turban soldiers were gathered outside Yangla County. In Yangla County, the streets of the city were filled with terrified civilians and depressed players. No one had expected Yangla County to be surrounded by 500,000 Golden Turban soldiers. Although the battle had not yet begun, looking at the weak city walls and the number of soldiers guarding the city, it was not hard to understand one thing. There was no way to fight. These players were all solo players. The lords nearby had either been killed or joined the Golden Turban Army. No one would come to help them. Yangla County county office, the county magistrate sat in the main hall as he looked at the entrance of the county office in fear. He was holding a long sword in his hand, but the sword didn't give him much courage because it would tremble from time to time. It was clear that the county magistrate was not calm at all. It could even be said that he was afraid. The bailiffs in the county office were no longer as arrogant as before. They were all pacing back and forth in fear. They would occasionally look at the entrance, afraid that the golden-turbaned soldiers would suddenly appear. Yangla County city walls. When the soldiers guarding Yangla County saw the densely packed Golden Scarf army below the city, their faces turned pale. There were only 10,000 soldiers here, while there were 500,000 golden-turbaned soldiers below. How could they dare to come out and fight? General, what should we do? If this continues, Yangla County will be broken through sooner or later. A centurion looked at the great general and said with a terrified expression, "What should we do? Are you going to surrender? Aren't you afraid that your family will be executed?" The great general was furious when he heard this and roared, "But general, we don't have enough rolling wood and oil. We also don't have enough arrows. At most, we can last 3 times. After 3 times, the centurion hurriedly said. Hearing this, the great general's eyes widened. He pulled out the sword at his waist and swung it. Chi-la sound was heard. The centurion's head flew into the air and rolled down the city walls. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Fresh blood spurted out and dyed the great general's armor red. The great general did not even look at the centurion as he roared. Anyone who dares to disturb our morale will be executed. Yes, general. When the centurions and chiliarchs on the city walls saw this, they all shuddered before bowing and saluting. At this moment, a loud roar came from the golden turban army general below the city walls. Quickly open the city gates and surrender. Otherwise, after we break through the city, we will kill all of you. In the next second, the 500,000 golden turban army soldiers raised their pitchforks, hoes, and a small number of wooden spears as they roared. Kill all of you! Kill all of you! When the great Han soldiers heard this, their expressions became unnatural. Some of them even began to tremble. When the great general saw this, his expression changed. He knocked an arrow on his bow and released it without any hesitation. However, this arrow did not hit the person who shouted because it was too far away. Trash! Do you dare to come out of the city and fight? The golden turban army general roared with laughter. When the great general heard this, his face turned ashen. However, he could not leave the city. If he did, he would fall into a trap. When the golden turban army general saw that the great general of Yangla County did not reply, he disdainfully curled his lips and raised his arms. The firmament is dead. Boom! The 500,000 golden turban army soldiers were instantly riled up. They all roared like madmen. The firmament shall rise. At this moment, a deafening roar came from the distance. Rumble, rumble. It was heavy, powerful, and shocking. When the golden turban army general heard this, he could not help but be stunned. He then looked in the direction of the sound. In the next second, the golden turban army general's pupils constricted. He saw a man wearing a luxurious robe and holding a thick black spear in his right hand. He rode a golden horse and appeared in the distance. However, this was not important. What was important was that behind the young man, there was a group of heavy cavalry riding rhinoceroses. Moreover, each of them was dazzling. What kind of mount is this? What kind of equipment are they wearing? The golden turban army general said in a daze. On the city walls of Yangla County, the champion marquee. It's the champion marquee. Yangla County is safe. When a centurion saw the young man at the front, his eyes opened wide and he shouted excitedly. Chapter 301. It's the champion marquee. It's really the champion marquee. I've seen the champion marquee before. A burly soldier shouted excitedly. We're saved. We're saved. Heaven has eyes. The champion marquee is here. We don't have to die. Below the city wall, the Golden Scarf Army General came back to his senses and pointed his sword at Yichun. Kill them all. Strip them of their equipment. At this moment, the Golden Scarf Army General finally recognized the grade of the Samsara Legion's equipment. Damn, it's actually diamond grade. The only good equipment he had was gold grade. He couldn't accept this. He wanted to kill Yi Chun and kill all of Yi Chen's soldiers, just like how he had annihilated countless villages and towns. He wanted to kill them all and rob them all. Kill. Kill these Lu Hong's dogs. Kill them and rob them of their equipment. Skin them alive and light them up. A golden-scarfed 1,000-man commander roared with bloodshot eyes. Charge! Charge! All of you charge! Kill them! For the virtuous master, charge! Another golden-scarf 1,000-man commander roared. Following the shouts of the Kiliarchs, the Golden Scarf Army soldiers charged at Yi Chun as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Rumble, rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth shook. Just as the Golden Scarf Army charged at Yi Chun, Zhao Yun appeared in the distance with the white horses. 100,000 white horses and 100,000 human-shaped diamonds instantly blinded the eyes of the Golden Scarf soldiers. Then, they all stopped and looked at the increasing number of white horses in shock. Originally, they had the advantage in numbers and were bold. But now, with the sudden appearance of 100,000 white horses, their courage was greatly reduced. Why are there so many cavalries again? A Golden Scarf Chiliarch was charging with his Golden Scarf soldiers. When he saw the sudden appearance of the white horses, he immediately stopped and shouted in shock. What grade of equipment are they wearing? Why is it so shiny? A centurion with a golden scarf swallowed his saliva with a gulp and then shouted. I don't know, but there are too many cavalry, we might not be able to stop them. When the Golden Scarf Army General saw this, his pupils constricted and he shouted in shock. 100,000 soldiers, and they're all riding white horses and wearing diamond-grade equipment. Whose King Army are they? Could it be the Champion Marquis troops? The Golden Scarf Army General suddenly thought of something and shouted in shock. Champion Marquis! The Champion Marquis? When the Golden Scarf Army General heard this, he suddenly shivered and shouted in alarm. General, this is Yu Zhou. The strongest person in Yu Zhou is Yi Chun, the Champion Marquis who has been promoted to General of Agile Cavalry. These troops are not to be trifled with. They must be Marquis Yi Chen's troops. The Chiliarch gulped and said after glancing at the Samsara City army. Hearing this, the Golden Scarf Army General tightened his grip on his long saber. How could he not know who Yi Chen was? Not only did he know who Yi Chen was, but he had also heard of him. Yi Chen had broken through Ping City in 2 hours and flattened Wuhuan in 1 day. His battle strength was monstrous and ferocious. Damn it! Why am I so unlucky? Why did I encounter Marquis Champion? The Golden Scarf Army General suddenly paused and looked at Yi Chun, who was in the front. Is he Marquis Champion? The Golden Scarf Army General asked while pointing at Yi Chun, who was riding on Little Gold's golden Pegasus. It is said that Marquis Champion is very young and has a golden Pegasus. The Chiliarch said after glancing at Yi Chun. Halfway through his words, his pupils constricted and he shouted in shock. General, it's him. It's him. He is Yi Chun, Marquis Champion. Hearing this, the Golden Scarf Army General's eyes widened and he shouted. I searched high and low for him, only to find him by chance. Yi Chen dares to charge forward alone. Pass down my order. Kill Marquis Champion for me. No matter the cost, I will present his head to General Heaven Duke. Hearing this, the Kiliarch's eyes lit up. He knew Yi Chen's reputation. As long as he killed Yi Chun, the Golden Scarf Army's reputation would be greatly improved. Moreover, he would be able to frighten Big Han and obtain various benefits from Zhang Jiao. At this thought, the Chiliarch bowed without hesitation and replied, Yes, General. Yes, General. With that, he ran to pass down the order. Not long after, there was a loud shout from the Golden Scarf Army. Do you see the man riding the golden Pegasus? That is Marquis Champion Yi Chun of Big Han. He is Lu Hong's strongest fighter and also General Heaven Duke's greatest enemy. For General Heaven Duke, charge. Kill Marquis Champion Yi Chun. Take his head and present it to General Heaven Duke. For the virtuous teacher, kill Marquis Champion. For General Heaven Duke, kill Marquis Champion. Loud shouts rang out one after another. The Golden Scarf soldiers, who had just been shocked by the luxurious lineup of the Samsara army, heard the slogans of Virtuous Teacher and General Heaven Duke. Their breathing suddenly became rough and then heavier, and their eyes revealed a fanatical look. At this moment, there was a roar. Virtuous Teacher has given us talisman water. Drink it, and we will be invincible. In the next second, the Golden Scarf Army's eyes were filled with fanaticism. They took out talisman water and drank it without hesitation. Waves of red light rose again. The heaven is dead, the yellow sky will rise. In the 60-year cycle, the world will be blessed. The Golden Scarf Army general saw this, and his eyes opened wide. He then raised his arms and shouted, "The heaven is dead, the yellow sky will rise." In the 60-year cycle, the world will be blessed. The fanatical shouts immediately sounded. For General Heaven Duke, for the Virtuous Teacher, charge, kill Marquis Champion. The Golden Scarf Army general pointed his saber at Yi Chun and roared, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The Golden Scarf Army once again rushed towards Yi Chun. Rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth trembled. Dian Xiong's army of 100,000 appeared in the distance. The Golden Scarf Army general saw this, and his pupils suddenly shrank. He then said in shock, "Fuck, how come there is still?" "General, as long as we kill the Marquis of Champion Yi Chun, it will be our victory. As long as we have Yi Chun's head, even if all the soldiers are wiped out, General Heaven Duke will not blame us." When the deputy general heard this, he immediately bowed and said, "Sai, it's a pity for these soldiers. I'm sure they would be willing to sacrifice their lives for a virtuous teacher." The general's eyes widened and he sighed. He spoke as if he was bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying the fate of mankind. However, his eyes revealed nothing but ruthlessness, as well as a deep desire. He wanted to get Zhang Jiao's reward, and so did his deputy. As long as they killed Yi Chun, they would be able to obtain Zhang Jiao's reward. The price they had to pay was the lives of the 500,000 Gold Scarf soldiers. Whether it was the general of the Golden Scarf Army or his deputy general, they all made the same choice. Tut 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 tut. Yi Chun, who was riding on a golden Pegasus, looked at the Golden Scarf Army charging at him like madmen. He smiled coldly and raised the Godslayer in his right hand. White Tiger Formation. Kill, kill, kill. The Samsara Corps raised their well-tempered steel and spears in unison and then loudly roared. An extremely dense, murderous aura instantly rose up and gathered into a ball in the sky. A huge and clear white tiger instantly appeared in the sky. Roar! An earth-shattering roar resounded across the earth. A brutal, murderous aura suddenly erupted and became thicker and fiercer. It chilled people's bodies and made their souls tremble. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.